everybody, welcome to It Was Tuesday with your host James Chen, aka J Chenzor. As you see, I have a brand new microphone over here, so shout outs to Elgato. It seems to be working really well here. I've had to do a bunch of checks, like some of the popping might actually be hardware, my PC or something, but regardless, this microphone is very nice. Great sound quality, really appreciate it. Thank you guys for sending me a microphone, and I am really appreciative of that. So I definitely wanted to give them a shout out. They gave me a free microphone, so please allow me to sing the praises of my new Elgato Wave 3. So I obviously, happy Thanksgiving everybody. Hope everybody enjoyed their time off and had a great meal with family or friends, or even if you're by yourself, hopefully, you were managed to get some good food somewhere and just, celebrate a little bit of time for relaxation and to giving thanks for everything. Because right now, I think what the people out there, I mean, when you think about it right now, the people who are thankful out there, right? I would imagine right now, the most thankful people on the planet are Rashid players. They're Rashid players because, obviously, I took the week off of Thanksgiving, and in the span of those 2 weeks, literally Capcom was like, hi, by the way, we're gonna do a balance patch. Here's the balance patch. And we were like, what? Where did this come from? And we got a balance patch out of nowhere. A December 2nd balance patch, like before Capcom Cup. Like, they're gonna release a balance patch before Capcom Cup. And I was like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. Like, what? Like, you actually did that, huh? Here's the funny thing about it, right? Here's the funny thing about it. I'm trying to see if I can find it. Yes, that's right. Here it is. Here it is right here. So, on November 27th, they sent out this tweet. There will be a balance update on December 2nd for Street Fighter 6. Although this won't be a major update like the Akuma one, all characters will receive changes. We'll publish the battle change list when maintenance starts on December 1st at 8 p.m. Pacific time. So everyone was like, oh, okay. So it'll probably be like little bug fixes, little quality of life things. They're not gonna shake the game up before we actually get to Capcom Cup. They would never... okay, admittedly, obviously the Akuma patch was, a significant patch, but I feel like this patch is on par with the Akuma patch. Like, they went crazy with this one because there is some, some characters people feel like they've almost been kind of deleted. Not really. This is the doom and gloom out there. Okay, so, before we get to anything here, we're just gonna say this first. First and foremost, everybody's initial reactions to the patches are going to be exaggerated, okay? Mostly, it's not gonna be as bad as people say. A couple of top tiers did get nerfs, and there are people out there now who are just like, well, character's done, finished, right? But remember in the Akuma patch, when Cammy lost her spin knuckle to projectiles, like, they made it so that the first few frames, like, before it used to go through projectiles, like, on frame, 4 or something like that, and they moved it all the way back to, frame 9, and so you had to be way more predictive to get through the projectiles with Cammy's spin knuckle. And when they made that change, literally, I had, on Twitter and on YouTube, people telling me that Cammy was nerfed to the ground, that change, that single change, made Cammy de facto, without question, objectively the worst character in the game now. Now she can't do anything to projectiles, and she's awful, okay? And she turned out to be top 3 in the game, right? Okay, right, okay. I shouldn't do that because that is not a good symbol for some countries. So, here's the thing. A lot of people are going to come out and be like, oh my God, Ed is useless now. Cammy is useless now because They did some stuff to Ed and Cammy, okay? But clearly those two characters were very, very strong. The interesting thing is, like, the characters that are weak, remember in the Akuma patch, everyone was like, wait a minute, like, why didn't you buff these lower casts a little bit more? Well, they did a lot more work this time, and especially as a Kimberly user, oh my god, we're gonna see a lot more Kimberlys now, and people are gonna hate her even more than before. Because they were very kind to Kimberly in this patch, which is justified because every patch previous to that has been like, we heard Kimberly sucks at neutral, so we gave her this light vagabond edge that makes it safe on block that you have to worship a goat and like you have to sacrifice 3 toads and like 1 cricket to find the right spacing to actually make it safe on block. So that'll help her neutral, and like that was her only change, and you're like, what the heck? So she deserves it, because she's like 2 patches behind everybody else of getting buffs, okay? So anyway, Vagabond Edge is the elbow attack that she has. So, let's talk about this patch, right? Let's talk about this patch. The first thing to note about the patch is the universal systems over here. And one of the things they did was that some people could use sweeps to make you block at ranges so that they weren't punishable, like if you max distance the sweep. Well, they decided to nerf that and make it so that the characters like a Bison, like a Chen, like an Akuma, like Jamie is an infamous one, where they could sweep you at ranges where most characters couldn't punish them back. They nerfed all of that so that they can punish them. And you know, honestly, I would have rather that they buffed everybody else so everybody could do that. Like, I like the idea of having it so that if you space the sweep out perfectly, it can be safe on block. I'm sad that they went the other way, but clearly they want it so that sweeps, if blocked, you should die. Like, there's no question. And to be fair, one of the reasons why a character like Ed is so strong is that there's nobody who can do that to Ed because the standing medium kick reached so dang far. So I think they got rid of that to make it so that basically kind of most characters are on par with each other a little bit better. Maybe, we'll see. But in any case, that was one of the major changes. But the other one that's really crazy here, and it's just like everybody sees it and they're just like, do you just hate Zangief or something? Like, does Capcom legit just hate Zangief? Because they got rid of jump canceling special moves. No, they didn't get rid of jump canceling special moves. What they did was they wanted to prevent people from avoiding throws by using the jump cancel, which is a technique that basically was only used by grapplers. So if you don't know how jump canceling works, is that everyone who jumps has pre-jump frames where they're starting to jump, which are considered grounded, right? And you can cancel those pre-jump frames into special moves. However, pre-jump frames cannot be thrown, even though they're considered grounded. That's why if you hold up, nobody can ever spinning pile drive you, right? Nobody can, like if they try to go to tick throw, if they do a meaty throw, you can always jump out of that because you can't throw the pre-jump frames. So for Zangief and other grapplers who have SPDs, they have 4 pre-jump frames because that way it's easier to spinning pile driver without jumping by accident. If you want to know what it's like with 2 pre-jump frames, play T-Hawk on Super Turbo and you'll find that you can't do walk-up SPD at all. It's really hard. So, you know, what the Zangief players would do is they would wake up with a spinning pile driver, hold up. They would start jumping, and then like on the 3rd or 4th frame, they would hit punch and cancel the pre-jump frames into a spinning pile driver. The enemy would try to throw. They're in the pre-jump frames. The throw only has 2 to 3 active frames, so it's whiff, 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 and then you snap back to the ground with your spinning pile driver and you will grab them. So it's essentially phasing through their throw in a way to grab them. And it was a very high level technique that basically only Zangief's used. Only Zangief really used it all that much. Like maybe Lily used it every once in a while, but Zangief was the one that you would see use it the most. They got rid of that. And how they did it was that if the throw, a regular throw, connects technically on a pre-jump frame, I mean, like, it's such a weird way to do this, right? So, normal throw. extended the active frames of a normal throw when its attack hitbox comes into contact with the animation of a jump leaving the ground. So in other words, if a throw touches a pre-jump frame, what happens is the throw just automatically gains extra animation frames. So if it touches a pre-jump frame, it gets extra active frames so that when you actually jump cancel the special move and snap back to the floor, you get grabbed. Because now the throw has more active frames. So it's gone. It's gone. Like, you can't do that, right? But here's the thing, right? Like, it doesn't work. Like, command throws don't have this. You can still jump cancel to escape command throws. So if Zangief wanted to go in SPD Lily, Lily could jump cancel into SPD to beat a meaty ground SPD from Zangief, and vice versa. So grapplers can still do it to each other. Like, they just hate grapplers, dude. Like, grapplers can't even get. Now, here's the funny thing. Why did they make this change? A lot of people are saying Capcom really hates like these kind of glitchy things or option select things or things that are a little too advanced. You know, like, remember in season 1 of Street Fighter V, they got rid of the jump back throw OS like almost immediately, right? Like season 2, they killed it, right? They literally programmed a bunch of stuff to kill that, right? Some people say that jump cancel SPD was too strong. Right, okay, yeah. John the Automaton saying that he actually heard people say that, dude. No, there are a lot of times that you'll meaty SPD people, especially if you have the proper frame kills and stuff. You know, because you have to establish that because you want the opponent to be scared enough to try to hold up when they jump, because then you can start blowing them up for doing that. You have to create the right mix up there. But now here's the interesting thing. Like, so a lot of people are saying they hate Zangief, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But you know what? This is tinfoil hat time over here, okay? I think, if you guys remember, right before EVO, a bug was discovered in the game that let anybody with a flash kick, like Chun-Li, like Blanka, like Guile, do a jump cancel up to like 5 or 6 frames or something like that. So like they kind of had a bigger window, and it was basically they only had 2 pre-jump frames, right? They only had 2 pre-jump frames, but there's a leeway on all flash kick moves that even the first like 4 frames you get into the air, you can still cancel into the flash kick so that it's not impossible to do a flash kick, right? Because otherwise people would jump and miss it all the time. So they just gave this kind of leeway. But what they found out was that based on the priority system, like if you input 2 commands at the same time, the game has an input priority check. And so if you actually did like flash kick with a fireball motion in there, let's say the fireball motion has higher priority, you would actually start to flash kick, go into the air, and normally you wouldn't be able to fireball at that point. Like Dee Jay could do this with his Sobat kick, so you can't jump cancel the Sobat kick anymore because you're in the air. But what happens is if you blend the Sobat kick and the flash kick motion at the same time, the game would go, oh, Sobat has priority. Do the Sobat. You're in the air. You can't. Oh, okay. Well, he also entered a flash kick, so let's let him do the flash kick, because you can do the flash kick the first 4 frames, you're in the air. So do the flash kick. Wait, but he also entered the Sobat, and the Sobat has higher priority. Do the Sobat. So it would actually use the flash kick's leeway to turn into the other special move and let you jump cancel. So the Blanka, you know, all these characters, Bison had kind of ways to do it a little bit. So yeah, there was a way to kind of do this with the flash kick characters. And I honestly really feel like that they put this fix in there because of that. Because of that. Like, if that never happened, if that was never discovered, I wonder if they would have made this change. Like, they were like, okay, Zangief uses it, whatever. But I think they just don't want these other characters to do it. I think they wanted to kill that bug. And they were like, well, we can't do anything about the spinning pile driver. Sorry, right? And so now Zangief actually has worse defense than he's ever had before. Like, that was actually one of his, you know, only ways to have a good defensive tactic, and it's gone now. So yeah, Zangief, again, is just one of those characters that can never seem to catch a break. And even in the changes here too, like they even say like Zangief is a character that's greatly affected by the jump cancel adjustment. So while his defensive capabilities have decreased greatly, we still think he's a character that's strong enough to compete. They're just like, dude, come on, man. Come on. Let it so that his double German suplex is now at least throw invul or something. Like, give that move a use. Nobody ever uses that move, right? So, like, Jesus, oh my God. That was definitely written by Nemo. Agreed, John the Automaton, agreed. Oh my God. I mean, let's be real though. How often did it get used? Not often, but except at the highest levels. And you would see Snake Eyes do it a lot. You would actually see Snake Eyes. I mean, he was so good at that. And I know Itazan, like sometimes Itazan died because he tried it and mistimed it and accidentally did the SBD before he left the ground. And so he just ate whatever attack is on the ground, like ate a throw anyway and stuff like that. But it's just, it's so unfortunate. Like, they hate Zangief, man. But those are that's the major system change. And like I said, it's crazy, but my conspiracy theory is that they did it because of the flash kick bug. And they didn't want that, right? I think, so keep in mind, anybody who thinks that this jump cancel bug is like some sort of new thing, this bug has existed forever. Right? It's existed in Street Fighter V, it existed in Street Fighter 4. I'm pretty sure it exists in Street Fighter 2 and stuff like that as well. In fact, Street Fighter 2 had a weird bug that you could hit somebody out of their pre-jump frames with you hit them out of their pre-jump frames with a combo, like you go short, short. The first short, he would be grounded, but for some reason, the second short, they would be in the air and they would flip out. Like, there was all sorts of weird pre-jump frame bugs in the past and stuff. So this is something that has always existed, and they've only just now decided to get rid of it. Like, that doesn't feel like we're trying to nerf grapplers because it's existed in 5 as well. That feels like that they were trying to get rid of this flash kick bug. Honestly. Though you can't avoid SPDs by jumping in Street Fighter 2 because pre-jump frames were throwable. You can't even escape regular throws, right? So that's why jab, jab, walk up, throw was something that could just grab you, right? So you just couldn't get away. So, like I said, I don't feel like that this is a specific, like, we're tired of grapplers doing this. It feels like we don't want that flash kick bug to exist. And unfortunately, Zangief is collateral damage, and oh well. I just want to know who is Nemo's contact and how much is he paying him or her? How much is he paying them, right? Like what is Nemo doing, man? But any case, that's the major system change over there. So again, like, one of the things, before I get into the individual characters here, though, is that this is a big change, right? Like I said, this is a major change. This is clearly not a small change. Some of these characters are like they were changed forever. You know, like there is definitely some characters that are like, oh, what the? And it's crazy. And they called this a minor, they didn't directly call it a minor patch, but they called it it won't be a major update. It won't be a major update. That's about as close to saying that this is a minor update as you could possibly say. And it's clearly not a minor update, okay? Like, this is pretty big. And so the conspiracy theorist in me now is, what the hell is going to happen in Season 3? Does this mean we are gonna get the absolute incredible shakeup that I'm kind of hoping for when Season 3 comes out, right? Because here's the thing, everybody, and sorry, I went off on Twitter again because I got really frustrated with it, because a bunch of people were like, fix the drive rushes eating inputs in this patch, fix it, fix the drive, and I was like, dude, like, drive rushes are not eating inputs except for jumps. And even if it, like, even if you count this thing where you input 2 things during the freeze, which is 9 frames long, so it's really hard to do that. Like, you have to intentionally do that practically. There's no solution. I've gone through this. I know people get mad at me when I say this. There's no good way to fix Drive Rush eating inputs right now, if you want to call that eating inputs. So even in my definition, even in whoever else's definition, the fact that Drive Rush can mess up your timing on everything, there is no way to fix that. I have a whole video on YouTube where I talk about this, okay? There's just no way to fix it. There's no logical way, because you literally are adding input time that doesn't exist in the actual game's timeline. So no matter what, you have to eliminate inputs somewhere to catch up to the, so that the actual time can catch up to the input timeline. So in other words, you have to cut input somewhere. And so you're gonna lose input somewhere. There's no way to fix it. The way that it's actually implemented might be the actual best case. The only way you can come up with something else is if you do something super weirdly elegant that would probably be way too hard to program. And so there's just no way to fix it. There's just really no way to fix it, right? So the reason why I'm talking about this is that, you know, those kind of changes, everyone's been complaining about drive rushes. Can we fix drive rushes? Can we do this? Drive rush cancels too strong, et cetera, et cetera. If they're calling this a not major update, is Season 3 actually gonna come and be like, well, drive rushes have no freeze anymore, and when you eliminate the freeze in drive rushes, you have to change the frame data of everything. Because any combo where you drive rush and juggle, or if you drive rush cancel a move, the amount of block stun and hit stun they do so that it combos or doesn't combo, or is a true block string or doesn't do a true block string, is so precisely calculated in this game that if you remove the freezes from drive rushes, you have destroyed the entire game's ecosystem. It's just gone, right? And so maybe they've been working on this for the past few months to find a way to eliminate the freeze from drive rushes or something like that. And again, I'm not trying to set up anybody's hope here or anything, but this is just what happens when I see the language of this is a not major update. Like, what? Like, what? How, why? Like, how is this not a major update? Because, like, some of these characters, it's a big deal. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting right now. Maybe Season 3 is going to be a major shakeup. Maybe they are going to do something crazy. And so what they wanted to do for this Capcom Cup was to create a definitive version of the game for the end of this phase's life cycle, right? Like, okay, let's get Capcom Cup, let's make it so that every character has a better chance, and then we shake everything up. Like, I don't know, like, that's kind of how my brain works right now. So, you know, it's kind of nuts. Yeah, and again, right, like, there's a lot of people out there, Cammy's dead, Ed is dead, Bison's dead, and I'm like, dude, like, chill. So let's go over the characters and see what we got over here, right? So if we go to Luke over here, I mean, Luke is an interesting case. He started off extremely strong. They nerfed him. Everyone stopped using him, except Noah the Prodigy. And then they keep trying to buff him a little bit back up. And one of the things that I do like about their philosophy of the way that they buff characters is they take a look at moves that aren't used like ever at all, and they try to buff them a little bit, you know, give them more uses. Like you can actually see here, his forward heavy punch, like, you know, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't get much love in a fight, right? Overdrive, sandblast, and then the extra drive gauge follow-up here, right? We reassessed this technique as it didn't give that much of a return compared to other overdrive projectiles. So, you know, people didn't really use it that much, right? Medium flash knuckle, we re-examined this. So the perfect input combos lost some of their appeal due to combo scaling on its primary tools because you can combo into, so in other words, they're like things that have stopped being used for Luke, they keep buffing a little bit. So they actually buffed quite a few things over here. You can see, right? Like, he had that target combo, the crouching medium kick into the headbutt. Used to be +1. Now it's +2. And this is very significant because if you're +1, throws will lose to 4-frame buttons. If you're +2, throws will beat 4-frame buttons. So now if Luke hits you with crouching medium kick into the heavy headbutt, this is a real mix-up now. This is a real throw, strike, shimmy mix-up at this point. And so it's kind of scary now. Like, it's always a real throw, strike, shimmy mix-up because, like, if you jab and they try to throw, they die. They can delay tech, but you can shimmy. It was still there, but this actually just straight up means now that you will beat 4-frame buttons even if you go for a throw. So it is a little scarier for the opponent. So keep in mind, +1, +2, very, very different in Street Fighter 6. Very different, significant changes. But this is all buffs. These are all buffs. Like, he legit didn't get any nerfs at all. Like, at all. All right, look, medium flash knuckle, perfect. The second attack no longer has combo scaling added to it, so it does more damage. Noah the Prodigy is thrilled, okay? Noah the Prodigy is thrilled. So, Luke is definitely a winner in this patch. Is he going to be to the point where he's like what he was in Season 1? Still probably not, but a lot of his damage is back. People have been showing some combos online. A lot of his damage is back because that was the main thing that got nerfed between Season 1 and Season 2. They added scaling to his crouching medium punch. They added scaling. So literally Luke like has no bufferable medium buttons that don't add scaling. So like everybody's primary attacks are usually the middle buttons, and a lot of times you start your combos with that. And so literally Luke had no middle buttons that didn't scale the combo damage. So he lost a lot of damage, and they gave a lot of the damage back to him here. So he's not going to be jumping incredibly in tiers, but here's the thing, right? He's going to go up. He's better. And the fact that the majority of the best characters are getting dropped, Luke is very much capable of being extremely viable now, in my opinion. I think Luke, like I said, he's not going to be breaking down the charts. And, you know, I don't think... Like, the reason why everybody used him in 5 was because he was clearly the best. But, you know, a lot of people who want that Shoto style tend to stick to Ryu and Ken or Akuma here. So I don't think we're going to see a huge uptick in Luke usage, even past Capcom Cup. Like, let's say we don't get any patch changes and we keep this version for the next 6 months. I don't think we'll see a huge uptick in Luke usage, but Luke players will definitely have a better time in events, honestly. So when I see Jamie players talking, you know, Bolt Strike from the EU is going to be one of the guys that I look at the most for their opinions. Really, honestly, like, out of all the characters who are, you know, quote, bad, like, in the bottom part of that tier list, like, it's always Jamie, Manon, Kimberly, and Marisa, and Lily. Like, these 5 characters are characters that need love. Like, all the brand new characters needed love because they're all, like, not good. So, like, the last major patch, was like, they didn't do anything. Well, they gave Jamie a bunch of stuff, and it still didn't pull him out of the doldrums. And so, you know, Jamie players are like, what do we get? What do we get? Honestly, like, not much. Like, I feel like out of the 5, Jamie and actually Lily might be the biggest losers of those 5, right? He got a lot of cool things buffed, right? Especially the fact that when he takes a drink, no matter what. So before, when you take a drink, it just increased your level. When you actually got to level 4, taking the drink would give you your drive gauge back instead because it didn't do anything. So the game was like, we got to give you some benefit so you actually drink, you know, get some, you know, drive gauge back. Well, now, every time you drink, you get drive gauge back. And, you know, the Jamies are like, this is not what we asked for. This is not good enough, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But you actually see in the chat right now, Lurkerspy's like, Jamie got quite a bit. You know, the drink thing is huge. And, you know, it is because when he's in burnout, it still gives him, like, he gets out of burnout better than any other character now. Because throw can link into the, you know, can chain into a drink. You got these nice sequences that go into drink. He might have the best drive meter control out of all characters now, because now when you knock someone down and you're thinking, oh, do I want Oki or do I want to level up? Now part of that is like, am I at 2 drive gauges? Let me combo into drink, and now I'm at level 2, but now I'm also in the 3-bar threshold. Shout out to Ringe for that term. And so now I can drive cancel and not burn myself out. It could actually be really, really good. But like John the Automaton says in the chat, Jamie and Manon must be the most difficult to buff because it's like they're two different characters combined into one. Yeah, so again, as I've said, they're having trouble with these resource management characters because again, Street Fighter's never had resource management characters. Literally in Street Fighter V, Ibuki and Juri were the first characters ever in a Street Fighter game to gain a unique meter exclusive to them. You know, you see in Guilty Gear or in all these other fighting games that there's always like, hey, I have my, you know, this meter, that meter, you know, here's my dragon cards for jam, here's my, you know, like you always have all these weird extra meters that are character specific. Literally in Street Fighter V, Juri and Ibuki were the first characters. Yeah, it blazed blue like everywhere, right? Right, so, I mean, yeah, Ryu and Juri have meter management, but here's the thing is that Juri existed before in 5 and had to do it, so they had a lot of lessons to learn, and then Ryu sucked for a long time, too. So, you know, the other thing, too, is that since these are brand new character archetypes, it's harder for them. And yeah, and Honda's not good either, right? So the characters who have to give up Oki for resource management are weaker because Oki is so strong in this game and they haven't figured out the proper marriage between that. So that's neither here nor there. The thing about Jamie is that, you know, again, a lot of Jamie players are like not thinking that he got enough. But obviously there are some people out there who think that he is getting a lot. Am I still here? Am I still here? Okay. So, seems like a lot of people had some issues, like the stream getting cut. Anyways, sounds like a lot of people are saying it's back, it's fine now. Okay, so again, I'm not sure if Jamie got a lot, but like the jumping heavy kick, air to air, always knocking down. I mean, again, gonna be limited uses, but still has it, right? His sweep did get nerfed so that it's easier to be punished, which kind of sucks because that was like one of the coolest things about Jamie is that his sweep was ridiculously good. But, you know, a lot of his stuff is just QOL fixes, right? Like the level 3 juggle is better now. So when you actually do it out of a certain setup, he used to just go under people all the time. And you're just, the Jamie players are like, why? So now those things will hit a little bit better. So Jamie, you know, like I would say like he's a small winner, kind of like Luke. But considering from where he started from, being a small winner still makes you a loser. What a sentence, man. Oh, man. Being a small winner means you're still a loser. What a sentence, dude. So, yeah, I think Jamie's still going to need more help. I think he might be one of the bigger losers in this patch because he was such a bad character in the first place and they keep giving him buffs and they don't help. And honestly, like you look at like Kimberly and then you look at like Jamie and you're just like, dude, dude, right? So okay. Alrighty. Manon might be considered kind of in the same camp as Jamie. We'll see how it goes because it's interesting. One of the things they did to fix Zangief between Season 1 and Season 2 was they really manipulated his drive gauge management. He gained more drive gauge on a lot of attacks. He drained a lot more drive gauge on a lot of attacks. Now, there is a universal buff in this game, in this patch over here, where they made a lot of moves give back a lot more drive gauge. So they really went to town on this for Manon, and it's kind of interesting. So now she has a bunch of moves that, depending on her metal level, she actually gains more drive gauge, or super art gauge. I'm sorry. This one is the super art gauge. That's my bad. So she actually is gaining super art gauge, not necessarily the drive gauge here. Okay, so like, yeah, so her command throw, and then obviously, and then also the twirl into the grab thing. Oh yeah, I fed the cats earlier on stream, JNV. Sorry, you missed them a little bit earlier, so they're not gonna jump up here because they're well fed and sated right now. But Renverse will also give you more super gauge. Now, this might seem like a bad thing at first, like, you know, okay, cool, I can get to my level 3 a little bit easier. But maybe what this actually means is that, you know, her supers, because like one of the things that you see Idom do, he uses Manon's super a lot. He just uses them in combos and wake-ups and situations because he just wants the damage, etc., etc. But as a result now, he can get a lot of that gauge back, right? And so, you know, her supers might be a larger threat overall, which is kind of interesting, which is honestly kind of interesting. The only other thing that really, really feels like it's a big deal was that her standing heavy kick went from -2 to +1 on hit, right? On hit. So at least when you hit them, you can actually start to move, right? You can actually do something first. Oh, that's right, JNV. Yeah, I do need to talk about that. Probably won't have time today, so I'll probably save it for next week, but we'll take care of that next week potentially, because this is going to take a while here. But yeah, but if you look at that, like, that's really kind of all she got, right? That standing heavy kick, drive gauge increase, super art increase based off of metal levels, which is cool, like I said, but like, did she need better neutral? Yeah. Yeah. You know, yeah, this is a tough one for her. This is a really, really tough one for her. I don't know how much this is gonna fix her. I don't know if this is gonna make her super powerful, that you're just comboing into level 1s or comboing into level 2s all day because you know you can get meter back, right? Because here's the thing, if you end a combo with a level 2, that means you didn't get a medal, right? If you end it in level 1, it means you aren't getting a medal. So it's weird, like, it's weird, I'm not sure. So I'm curious about that. Yeah. So the drive gauge the big change about being the +1 is that if you drive rush heavy kick, you are now +5 on hit. And that means if you're close enough, you can link a standing light kick and get new combo routes off of it. So before, when it was -2 off of a drive rush, you would only be +2. So if you hit him with a drive rush heavy kick, that was it. So that's probably the biggest thing about that change, is that now, if you drive rush fish with standing heavy kick, which now allows her to get in because it goes so far and stuff, this is a good neutral tool for her, and if it hits, she gets a combo off of it. So that's probably what that's for. But again, in the scope of things, like Jamie, you know, being a little winner means you're still a big loser. Again, only because they have already started in a location that's bad. Like Luke, even though he's a small winner, he ends up being a small winner because he already started in a winning position. But for Jamie and Manon to be starting as like bottom 5 character to only get a small win, that's actually kind of like makes you a big loser, right? And especially when you take into account what they did to Kimberly. I call this patch the Shut Up James patch. Like, I seriously, like, I think I finally succeeded. I think I succeeded in complaining about Kimberly enough that they were like, shut up, James. Oh, fine, here. Shut the F up, James. Shut up. Because, like, some people are saying that Kimberly might be, like, top 5 now. Now, like, some people are like, she's probably still going to be bottom 5. You know, the opinion's running the gamut right now, but it doesn't matter. Like, they gave her a crap ton of stuff that has just powered up. I mean, when that previous patch was like, Kimberly struggles in neutral, so we're gonna give her, you know, like I said, the super accurate vagabond edge light elbow to be safe on block from the distance of this far and this far, like from the opponent, like, but everywhere else it either misses or is still -5. You're like, man, they admitted that her neutral was bad. They made her, the only buff they gave her was the light vagabond edge with the elbow in the most useless way possible. And that was it. And then they added Bison, whose light scissor kick was like from anywhere and was safe, like, and it wasn't even a charge move anymore. And you're like, what? What? And so, like, they really didn't do anything to Kim. And now, dude, her neutral is crazy. And honestly, like, I can't go over these changes because I know Kimberly so well that this will be the rest of the stream if you make me talk about Kimberly. But here's the thing, like, the fact that her slide got improved drastically. Like, this slide is, like, might actually be the biggest buff that she got. It's now become an excellent punish counter because now it knocks people down. On hit, no matter what, it's +1. Because a lot of times I've said one of her biggest problems is that you can just walk backwards away from Kim and she can't do anything. Like, even if she swept you, like, it wasn't a big deal. And then if you blocked it, you would kill her anyway, right? So whatever. The thing about this is now, even though, yes, if you block the slide while trying to walk backwards, fake it, and block it, and she slides, you can still murder her. The point is now, if I read that you're going to walk backwards and I slide and I hit you, in the old version, when I hit you, I was -3 or -2. So I would hit you for walking backwards to give you a mix-up. So in other words, I get to chase you for walking backwards, do a whopping, like, what, 400, 500 some damage to put myself in a mix-up. You never did that. But now they've changed it so that the first few frames have extra hit stun so that no matter what, it is +1 at worst. So before it was -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, depending on the frame that you hit it on, all the way up to 6, because it had a bunch of active frames. But now, if the first, second, third, or fourth active frame hit, they will always cause enough hit stun to be +1. So now if I choose to do this and I'm right and I chase you down, I'm right next to you and I get a mix-up. A lot of the times when I hit people with slides, I wouldn't know how plus or minus I am. I would jab and then I was actually -1 and I die. And it was just really annoying. Like, it just, like, every time you slid, you just had to assume you were minus. And so it was really hard to use properly unless you had that specific spacing. So now if I chase you down and I hit you with it, I know I'm +1. I know I can attack. And then as a whiff punish tool that it knocks you down, it's really, really powerful. Honestly. Wait, I don't know what you mean, Afrifrak man. You asked, is this changes, do these changes affect A players? Are you talking about, like, top level players? Oh yeah, these changes are huge. It's gonna change a lot at the highest levels. But, you know, they improved her Hisen kick, which is the hopping kick, because before that thing had no range at all whatsoever. They improved the range of that. Her heavy punch reaches so much further. It's not as far as her standing medium kick. Her standing medium kick is still her farthest range poke that doesn't get you killed on block. However, the improvement to the standing heavy punch is a big deal. But those weren't the only things. Like, it doesn't sound like a big deal, but changing the crouching light punch from -2 to -1 is a very big deal because now light punch and a stand light kick has better frame trap potentials from farther away. Look up I Am Hermit. Like, look up I Am Hermit on YouTube and look up his video on let's talk about light attacks in Street Fighter 6, like light attack privilege. He goes over why -2 versus -1 is a big deal, so I won't have to explain it here. But, like, crouching light kick being +4 is big deal. Standing heavy punch is crazy. Oh, but then honestly, this is probably actually the biggest change is that we're back, baby. We're back. They changed it back to beta version of the arc step. They changed it back to the beta version of the arc step. The arc step is a frame trap again. So in the beta, canceling into the arc step was usually a frame trap. So if people mashed, they died. And so when the game released, they made it so that nothing was a frame trap anymore. The only way to get a frame trap was standing heavy punch into OD run, standing medium punch into OD run, or crouching heavy punch into regular run. Now, anybody who's used Kimberly knows that crouching heavy punch has 0 horizontal range. So that was almost useless. It was basically useless. But the problem is that anytime Kimberly canceled into anything, like if people don't know how to fight Kimberly, my advice to you, well, previous to this patch, was just mash your 4-frame button. Just smash your 4-frame button. Because anytime she canceled to anything, you would beat it. Cancel the run, you'd beat it. Cancel into a light vagabond edge, oh, it was a true block string. Now you can punish her. Cancel into try to run overhead, you beat it. Try to run torso cleaver, you would beat it. Like, jab beat everything. The only things that would frame trap you were the medium vagabond edge and run slide, both which were -12 on block, which means if you just didn't do it, so in other words, if Kimberly's like, I gotta frame trap him with this, and then she was wrong, she died. So she basically had no real pressure. And then even all of her knockdown stuff, if you really understand the order in which she has to do stuff, like if she drops a bomb, you have to be worried about a throw right away. If she does a single attack, even a jab, and you block a jab, take the throw. Take the throw. Because if she does one single move, she can't throw you into the bomb anymore. And her throw only does 1080 damage compared to 1200 from everybody else. Take the goddamn throw, because she can't throw out another bomb. So if you ever block something on wake up, take the throw. You don't even have to be scary anymore, right? So like, that's the thing, right? So like, all of her mix-ups aren't real. Like, as soon as you learn what they are, she's obviously got real mix-ups, but they're the same as everybody else's. So the strength that she had, that she was a crazy mix-up character in the corner, just wasn't true. Her corner mix-ups were awful, and she's still the only character with an overhead that scales the next move to 75% damage. Every other character, drive rush into overhead, the next hit is 100% scaling. So if I did overhead into Crouching Strong did 100% damage. Kimberly, drive rush overhead into the next button, 75%. Like, she just did no damage, even when she got her mix-ups. So it's just, she had no advantages. And so by shoring up her neutral here, which is largely what they did over here, it's so good. But then this one here, like, you don't see it from this change. So when she does the arc step kick here, when she does the arc step, like, they changed a couple of things over here that it's faster and all this stuff. Dude, she can actually just do mid-screen target combo, arc step into level 1 now. Or she can do OD arc step into level 3. She has combos into her level 3 and level 1 mid-screen now that she just links into, which is great because Kimberly's ability to combo into supers is garbage. Garbage. And most of the time you never wanted to anyway, because then it means you wouldn't be able to use your level 3. She was really bad at comboing into her supers, whereas someone like Ken is like, any combo into run Dragon Lash, let me link one of my 3 supers and I can pick it. Like, so many characters have like really good ways to go into super combos, but Kimberly never had that. Her ability to combo into her supers was really, really bad, especially because everything she did also scaled her combo damage to death. So the fact that they gave her these really nice routes into, more new routes into her supers is really nice, honestly. They made the light vagabond edge so it's only -4 on block, so people are throwing this out a lot more. For characters with very short range lights, this is a problem because most of the time standing light kicks could punish it. Characters like Ken, standing jab will always punish you no matter what because his standing jab hits 10 miles away. But there are going to be a lot of characters that won't be able to punish even the -4 light vagabond edge now. So you're going to have to be careful of this move a little bit. So it's going to be a little scary over here. So doesn't parry blow up the Dragon Lash kick? Yeah, well, the perfect parry does, as well as drive impacts, but Ken overwhelms your mental stack, right? And again, drive perfect parry is only 2 frames. So if you just get the regular parry and miss it, you still have to deal with the mix-up afterwards, right? So, but my whole point is that the Dragon Lash isn't that you do it in neutral. I'm just saying, like, Ken, it's so easy for him to combo into, you know, strong, fierce, run, Dragon Lash, anywhere, corner, mid-screen, whatever, and he gets to pick whatever super he feels like to combo off of. Some characters just had the ability to combo into super so much easier than everybody else. And now Kimberly has that. Kimberly is, like, without question, and you know me, I'm Mr. Doom and Gloom, right? Like, I'm like mad, like they didn't do enough and blah, 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 blah. I came into season 1 thinking Kim was one of the best characters, and my opinion just kept getting beat down to death. And I eventually admitted she sucked, and then it just like started to eat at me. She's one of the biggest winners of this patch. Like, I just don't even think there's any question about it. I think she's one of the biggest winners of this patch. I think we're gonna see a lot more Kimberlys now. I really think, and Capcom's like, we're tired of you, James. Shut the hell up. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. Can you shut up now? We won't ever have to hear about this anymore. And so what's really cool about that now is that, so the hardest part is when you do use a low tier character. And I've talked about this on stream before. You know, the tiering of your character shouldn't matter, right? Like, you're playing the game, you're trying to have fun. Yes, your character might be bad, but, you know, people can overcome that, etc., etc. The only thing that tiering really kind of tells you is how much of it is your fault when you lose, right? And so when I'm losing with Kimberly, like, if everybody else was doing great with Kimberly and it was me doing bad, like when I play Cammy, I don't do great with Cammy, but I know that's my fault because she's super good. And that kind of brings a little calmness to your understanding of the character. But when you play a character that's you're losing with, and even the best players out there using the character can't do anything with the character, you know it's not your fault. And so it makes me angry because it's like, this character is clearly not good enough. But now, if Kimberly is actually really strong, like, I don't think she's really strong. I don't think she's top 5. Like, but is she mid-tier now? Clearly. Like, yo, yeah, she's gonna be mid-tier now. But like, if you see other players like Shine or like Psycho or, you know, Music for Friends in Korea or Lugabo, or who's winning all the time anyway. But when you start seeing those characters start doing real damage in tournaments, now, when I play, if I'm losing with Kimberly, it's like, it's weird for me because like, it's so much easier to swallow my losses when I actually know it's my fault because I've been playing fighting games for so long. When I'm losing and sometimes it's because your character sucks, like it's hard for me and I get really, really mad about that. And so if it gets to the point where she is better now and I use her and I'm still losing, I can't blame the character anymore. That helps us a lot, honestly. It helps a lot. And so I really think Kimberly is one of the biggest winners here. Marisa definitely, probably, you know, I mean, she fell off hard because all of her damage was still there, but Terry, Bison, and Akuma did just as much damage, and they had ODDPs and stuff like that. And or at least Bison, just like, he was just easy to pilot. You know, and so it really just made it so that Marisa really lost her sauce because, like, she had nothing special about her. There was nothing unique about her. Why would you use her for her damage when all these other characters could do crazy things? Well, they didn't do a ton of stuff. They did a lot of, like, really small things with her. But what a lot of people don't understand is that a lot of times to fix a character, you have to, like, everybody's always like, oh, you know what? To fix this character, make it so that, you know, like I always give the example in Street Fighter 4 in which someone said Cammy sucked, so make her Tiger Knee dive kick an overhead. And I'm just like, that makes her the best character in the game and she's broken. And they're like, no, that would just make her barely good. Like what? What? You know, like, people don't understand that a lot of times it's little things, because it's little things that can actually turn a character from being bad to good, right? And so the thing about it is Marisa got a lot of little things. My favorite being this crouching heavy punch hold where she does the uppercut, because before it launched and you didn't really get much off of it. But so what they did to this button here is they made it so that when she's charging up, her throw box doesn't extend and it launches higher now. So it became her best shimmy button now. So you fake a throw and you start charging up, and that delay makes him go, oh, she's throwing, and you whiff a throw, and if she punish counters you with that, she gets to do another charge heavy punch into another charge heavy punch because all of her charges are faster now. So she gets 1, 2, 3, and then like she can just do Gladius into level 3, and I swear to God, that's like 80% of your life. Like it does ridiculous amounts of damage. So even though, like, yeah, okay, it's just a shimmy tool, everyone, like, I feel like Marisa's gonna get away with a lot more throws because people are going to be terrified of getting hit by charge, crouch, heavy punch. Because you get hit by that and it's just like, feels bad, man, because that's just, you're just going to die, right? It's going to be bad. Let me see something here. So this is me over here. I know I retweeted that combo, so you guys need to see if you could check that out over here. Because when I saw it, I was like, what the hell? What the hell? So that's Jamie, that's not, oh, is it this one here? Let me see. Oh no, this is a different, oh wait, no. Oh yeah, this is a different one, this is a different one. Maybe I didn't retweet, oh yeah, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. So again, if she actually shimmies you, like, where did all your vital go? Long time passed. I mean, look, that's for a shimmy. Like, dude, like, this is brutal, dude. I mean, look at that, dude. Dude, even without the super, that's like, I mean, this is what, like 4,500, so that's like 4,000 damage, right? She just did 4,000 damage for a shimmy with no meter. With no meter. She just did 4,000 damage. So she could probably do more than that, honestly, with no meter. So yeah, she gonna be scary to whiff that. So it does not work on punish counter. You get launched a little bit higher than before. So yeah, increase the launch when the attack hits for a punish counter on the ground. So it's only on the punish counter. But someone misses a DP in the corner, charge it up, pow, pow, pow. Gladius, you've drained 4,000 because they missed the DP, right? So, you know, I stated that I want her to be stronger like that in, like, you know, specific conditions. So it seems like they kind of gave her that. Now, again, a lot of these changes, you know, like how often is that going to land, you know, is the question, et cetera, et cetera. You know, so the interesting thing about Marisa is if I had to say if she was a winner or a loser, I just have to say TBD. I don't know. Is she just gonna end up being like Jamie and Manon, where she's just a small winner, so she ends up being a big loser because of where she started? Or does she actually become like, does Marisa all of a sudden like kind of make a crazy comeback, you know? I don't know. I really don't know, because one, I honestly, Marisa is one of the characters that I probably have one of the biggest gaps on, because she is a brand new character and then she sucked in season 2 and everyone stopped using her. So like my need to like study Marisa's stuff kind of disappeared, right? So like I started studying a lot of the other characters instead. So again, I don't know exactly how much this is gonna help Marisa. So, and I can't ask any Marisa experts out there, because who's a Marisa expert? The only Marisa expert I can think of right now is like Johnny in Japan. And I don't even speak the same language as him, right? Like, so I don't know. I don't know how good she is. So that's the problem. So I don't know. I don't know how good this is. Right. There was no reason to play her, but in a game where everybody, where you are made useless by the existence of other characters, that does kind of make you suck in a weird way, you know? Like, a lot of people, Marisa dropped to bottom 3 in their list because it just was, why would you play this guy? That's why I had Kimberly so far down. Why would you play Kimberly when Bison and Blanka exist, right? Because they had better corner mix-ups and better reward off of their resource, the Psycho Mine and the Blanka Chen than Kimberly had, and they had much better tools, better neutral, all this stuff. I was just like, why would you play Kimberly? So that's why I put her way down there. I had her in bottom 3 because for the same reason that she just got replaced. There was no reason to play any of these other characters, not to play these other characters. So I had the same thing with Marisa. So I don't know how this is gonna necessarily fix her, Marisa. I don't know if this is gonna be a win or a lose for him. For her, I really don't know. Big Bird has said nothing but Rashid, Rashido. That's all Big Bird's been saying online. So I don't know what he thinks of Marisa. Honestly. Dude, it's in the game, Forrest. You can turn it back on. I have it set to my Rashid. So if Rashid comes up, you can actually play. Yeah, Gotcha-kun is telling Big Bird to shut up. Because he's like, you're gonna get Rashid nerfed. He's like, shut up. Lily, judging from what a lot of people I've been hearing say about Lily, she just might actually be a big loser without being a big winner. People have said that a lot of the changes that they gave her really don't amount to much. I mean, look at that. Like, what is the, what? Like, dude, like 4 changes? Again, let's go back to Kimberly. Here's Kimberly. This is the shut up James change list, right? Like, look at this. Look at this, right? I mean, honestly, like, if we compare it to one of the big patches, so like this battle pass over here for Kimberly was like, bleh, right? And then this battle pass for Kimberly was, oh, there's a lot of things here. That's right, there's a lot of things, but they all amounted to nothing. That's right, I forgot. She had a lot of changes, but they all amounted to nothing. But the fact that the current patch list for Kimberly is ginormous, of significant stuff, and then Lily got this? Like, yeah, so the second hit of the DP leading to more juggles is cute, but as Javits mentioned, it's actually less damage than other routes that she can do. So, like, I don't know, is it for the corner carry? Is it for the what? Like, she can sweep, she can crouch heavy punch to reset them into Condor Spire, which is neat, stuff like that. But again, like, for a character, honestly, out of these 5 here, the weak 5 over here, I personally thought Lily was the strongest out of the weak, the struggle 5 here. I honestly thought Lily was the strongest, so maybe she needs the least amount of tweaks. But none of these changes here are going to move her in any direction either way, honestly. It's basically like they're the same picture, right? It's the Office meme, right? They're the same picture. Like, is it really that? It's really just not that much any different anymore. So, yeah, again, I've talked about that, right? The reason why the Struggle 5 are all brand new characters is the other characters have been played forever, so they know how to balance them. They've been in fighting games before, and also the Struggle 5 has a lot of resource management: drinks, medals, spray cans, and wind stocks. And they haven't figured out how to do that yet, especially with new archetypes that they've never had before. Because you can't say that Lily is anything like T-Hawk, right? Like, they're not even the same character by any stretch of the imagination. So they're all brand new. So that's why it's not shocking to me that the brand new characters are the ones that are struggling, because resource management and new archetypes. They've never had to do this before. They've never done the, drink to get stronger, get medals to get stronger kind of thing. So, but honestly, like, if I had to name a big loser in this patch, Lily would have to be one. Unfortunately, Lily's probably one of the bigger losers in this game. Well, the biggest problem with Lily, as I've said a million times already, is that Wind-clad Odie Condor Spire is the best special move in the game. Yes, Cammy's OD dive kick used to be. It's not anymore, thanks to this patch. But let's talk previous patch. Like, yeah, some people are like, that's the best special move in the game. Psycho Flicker, that's the best special move in the game. No, the best special move in the game is OD Windclad Condor Spire. Like, it just is. It's the cheapest move in the game. It's 3 hits, beats drive impacts, is plus on block, travels across the screen, hits instantly, like, and you can't see it coming. Like, it is, like, without question, the best special move in the game. So they have to make everything else from Lily suck. And that's why she's hard to balance, which is why I actually think they should nerf the Condor Spire and actually buff a lot of other stuff. I really, really feel like that's what they gotta do to make her a more interesting character. Because the way she is right now, she is Condor Spire and Crouch Heavy Punch the character. That's it. That's her. That's what she does. And if you're just right on your mix-ups, you're gonna win. But it's struggle bus for her, honestly. So it's tough. It's a tough situation. So, I mean, considering the fact that I don't think she's gonna move up or down at all, and she is considered one of the struggle 5, I think she kind of counts as one of the losers in this game. JP didn't get much changes, but he got a lot of buffs in one of the previous patches. And they kind of helped his supers a little bit over here. But honestly, as you can see, basically not much changed, right? So JP could kind of be considered one of the losers of this patch. But once again, if we go back to, so not this patch here. This patch this is the patch that he got brutally nerfed. And then the follow-up patch, he got a bunch of things back. So JP became a little bit more of what he was before. And so this patch, they didn't really have to do much to JP. Again, even though Lily didn't move, and I consider her one of the biggest losers, JP not moving too much, like, doesn't make him one of the losers because he already put himself a little bit higher. But considering the fact that still a lot of people weren't playing him outside of, like, Juicy Joe, like, it is kind of a tough thing. So I think he may be a minor loser, but I think he's still really strong in my ability. So, if he throws the punish counter on you, Lavushka, all the ghosts will still keep going. I haven't seen any clips of that. I haven't seen how it looks. I don't know if it has to be an immediate throw like Kimberly's, or if he can throw you after like 2 Lavushkas and have it still combo. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. Again, this patch literally came out like last night. So I have to look at it. I'll have to look at it, experiment with it, and test it out. Maven Dojo, you just skipped my Kimberly. I didn't go over it in great detail because I could do a whole 4-hour video on it. Kimberly is one of the biggest winners of this patch. Like, I think de facto, without question. Like I was actually, and when I say that, Mr. Doom and Gloom about my character, that I say that she was one of the winners of this patch, you know something good happened. So yeah, again, Juri didn't get much change. This one might be one of the biggest changes right here, is that if she crouching heavy punches you and counter hits you, she gets way better juggles off of this. Now, to punish counter people who are jumping at you is rare. You usually get counter hits on them, because the only way to get a punish counter on someone jumping at you is if they jump and their kick ends and they start pulling back. So they have to have a colossal whiff of a jump attack for you to get the punish counter. This doesn't happen very often. You more than likely get counter hits. Now, for moves that low profile, like crouching heavy punch or like Aki's crouching heavy kick, you will get punish counters more often. And now when she gets that, it's really, really strong. Someone actually was like, yep, she's one of the biggest winners of the patch, just because they showed like one Juri combo. It wasn't this one, because it was an English person who tweeted it. I might not even be able to find it anymore over here. But someone was like, yeah, she's really strong. Like, this is really good. I mean, I think it's a little, I don't think it's that great. But, you know, again, Juri was pretty good before. And I think she's still pretty decent now, right? Juri's one of those characters that isn't like free, like really strong, like a lot of people thought she was early on. She's a very nuanced character, but she has the tools to make her really, really strong, as we've seen from Uma winning Capcom Cup and Nephew qualifying for Capcom Cup. This is a character that clearly has some sauce. So she didn't really get much changed, but is she a winner in this patch? So yeah, her and JP are technically both winners in this patch because I think that's the power level they're going for. Most of the characters who are some of the best characters have been dropped to that power level. And so now Juri and JP, though they didn't get much change, because they're in that power level already, I think that they're kind of winners in a way. So I kind of changed my mind about JP. I think JP and Juri might be considered small winners. Valmaster, all I saw in the Kimberly Discord was, Light Punch Vagabond Edge is so broken. I'm just spamming this move everywhere. That's the only thing I've seen from Valmaster so far. So I think he's having a good time. I think he's having a good... Even Shine was like, this character is like, this is kind of good. So, you know, I think a lot of the Kimberly players are happy. I mean, dude, the Kimberly Discord, like, I've never seen it this active before in my life. I've never, like... Literally, I posted something at like 3 a.m. and the next day at like 6 p.m. I went to go check to see if someone responded to me, and I had to scroll back through like 1,000 messages just to get back. Like in that time, in like a 12-hour span, like everybody in the chat was like, oh my god, you can do this, oh my god, oh she good now, oh my god, she must be top tier. Like, dude, it was crazy. And again, DJ. I mean, the up kick thing is really nice. This is a quality of life change. They nerfed the up kicks because what they didn't like was when he used to be able to do crouch fierce, counter hit into up kicks, or block Juri's Fuhajin charge, right? The Fuha charge, and then you could punish it with the up kicks because the up kick reached really far and hit faster and was meant to be an anti-air. So they reduced the horizontal range on it, but that just made it so that DJ just whiffed a lot against people who jumped at him. The first kick would just miss and he would die. So they changed it so now that they put the old hitbox back, but made it air only. So it only hits characters out of the air, so it can't punish things like Juri's Fuha charge and stuff like that. A lot of quality of life changes here for DJ. Nothing significant, but again, in the same park as JP, Juri, and DJ, right? Like all three of these characters are in that level, right? Like, so basically, if you look at it, it's what? The characters that are everybody kind of considered being a little bit stronger than the, like, let's just say, let's call this the desired power level. Desired power level, right? Rashid, Ed, Cammy, Ken, and Akuma were all kind of considered in that, you know, in the stronger level. A lot of people put Bison there. I personally did not, but Bison is a problem because he's so easy to pilot that he's super annoying. So you could kind of put him there as a mental, like an effective, you know, a person above the desired power level. But all the characters in the desired power level, like JP, like Juri, like DJ, didn't get much changes. So I think that's Guile. We'll see Guile didn't get much changes either. So again, it seems like they're trying to bring everybody into that level right now. And so DJ, not any significant changes to keep him there. Cammy, on the other hand, as I mentioned, is one of those characters, one of the best characters. Some people put her as #1 in the game. I have her personally at #3 in the game. I think she's ridiculously amazing. She's not easy to pilot, like she's not like Bison, but just like if you knew how to play the game and if you had good reads, like Cammy is clearly like super strong. Like that's why Punk is one of the best Cammys out there, and very few people can equal Punk's level with Cammy. A lot of people can use Cammy and get to top 64s and top 32s, but they all drop. They all disappear before we get to top 16. And there's usually by top 8, there's like in top 32, there's like 7 Cammys, and in top 8, there's 1 Cammy, right? Like there's always 1 Cammy in top 8, right? And so basically, you know, if you are a good player, she was incredibly, incredibly strong. It's funny, one of the things they hate the most about her is the side switching stuff, yet Ken gets to keep all of his side switching stuff, but whatever. In any case, Cammy is very, very strong. And one of the reasons why, if you guys remember, I did a stream a long time ago where I rated everybody's defense, and Cammy ended up as number 1. Like, I had her as the character with the best defense because she had an ODDP, and not only that, but she had an ODDP that switched sides. She has the best throw punish move in the game, which is jump OD dive kick. She had some of the best light punches and light kicks. And then she also had some of the best medium range pokes. So even if somebody tries to shimmy or try to like jab, jab, walk backwards to get you to whiff, it was harder to do that against Cammy. So Cammy like clearly had the best defense out of every character in the game. Well, I don't think they like that because they nerfed like almost everything that I said. That was great, right? Like I said, the side switch on the ODDP. No more side switch on the ODDP. Now, her dive kick has different frame data when performed on the way up in your jump. And the crazy thing is, it's only the first active frame. It's only the first active frame now. So if you jump and dive kick right away and hit with the first hit, like you tended to do when you predicted it, at best, it's +0. It's 0. It's just 0. Now, if they whiff the throw and you punish counter them, it's +4. But before it was bigger than that. So what she would do is OD dive kick, back medium punch, back heavy kick into spin knuckle, and she would side switch on you. And now she would be able to pressure you in the corner for reading the throw. Which is ridiculous, right? You can still side switch with Cammy right now. You can do OD dive kick, low jab into OD drill. And that gets you out of the corner. That's a side switch. Cost you 4 bars. So, yeah, might not do it. A regular ODDP doesn't switch sides anymore. So those are the 2 main nerfs that she got. Was really the overdrive, the OD cannon spike no longer switching sides. And then the cannon strike on the way up. They did make it so that her cannon strike, the normal one, builds more drive gauge, which is nice and fair because Cammy really is a character who spends a lot of drive gauge. And this is one of the hardest parts about using Cammy, is that if you don't know what you're doing and if you're not good at gauging your drive gauge, Cammys burn themselves out all the time. In order to get to that level, you have to be so good at managing your drive gauge. Honestly. So, yeah, that's right. And on block, no matter what, like no matter the height, if it's the first frame that it hits, it will be like -2. So like, interestingly enough, it used to be as bad as -4, but now they made it at worst at -2. So even though you can't get a free combo side switch on hit, you can't get punished anymore if you do it. You're always -2. You're always -2. So before, if she just jumped and dive kicked and you were as close as possible and blocked it, there was a chance she could be -4 and you can kill her. Now it's guaranteed if the first hit hits that you are -2. So she's a lot safer on block, but she doesn't get out for no more spending meter at this point. So again, you know, they helped a little bit, but is she overall considered one of the biggest losers in the game? Yeah, like for sure, this is one of the biggest losers. Do I think it's as bad as people are saying, like doom and gloom? No, not at all, not at all. Although Kimberly can fight her better now because since her DP doesn't side switch anymore, I can drop a bomb and even if she uppercuts me, she falls back into the bomb now. But yeah, sorry, that was kind of an evil cackle right there. But you know, I don't think she's as big of a loser as a lot of people say she is, but she is clearly one of the biggest losers, like in this patch, like for sure. But like I said, I thought she was top 3. Did she drop way below the desired power level that I keep talking about? No, she's still gonna be good. like, even though that dive kick hits and you can't do back medium punch, the fact that you can still do jab, jab, stand light kick into drill or something and get a knockdown and still kind of push your way out of the corner is still really good. It's still going to be the best anti-throw move because it's also -2 on block. Like where Chun-Li's air lightning kick, you can crouch under and kill her. You can't crouch under Cammy's dive. It's still like the best anti-throw move in the game. So she's still gonna be really good. She's still gonna be really good. I don't think, I don't know if you guys have watched Punk's stream or not. I haven't seen what he said, but I have a funny feeling Punk's probably like, whatever, right? It's not gonna make a difference for him because again, like I said, if you use Cammy well and you're just right a lot, you know, whatever. You just don't get out of the corner for free anymore. And you know what? I don't think Punk really cares. Like he will still be able to destroy people with this character. Like the amount of times Punk is gonna lose because he was right about ODDP or right about jump OD dive kick, but he didn't get out of the corner. Like the amount of times that he will die because of that will be almost never. Basically. It's basically never. Oh man. Okay, Ryu is another big winner here. Although some people are saying that he might actually be kind of a gorilla now. One, he's doing like some crazy damage, and they let his hop kick, which nobody ever used, combo into air Tatsumaki Senpukak, which is of course the spin kick, and it's opened up some high damage routes for him. And then like his Joden Shogutogeri, the high blade kick, like it comes out like 2 frames fast. The heavy one comes out 2 frames faster. Like it's like, look at this. The recovery is now -3 on block, so you can't punish it anymore. And that is because it's very easy to drive impact if somebody abuses it. But man, like people are saying that Ryu players are just throwing this out everywhere. And even Big Bird was saying like, man, I might have to like learn some Ryu. And like Kusanagi, I think is like really happy about it. So like Ryu, I think is really happy. Ryu players are happy right now. Like the 3 remaining Ryu players, I think are really happy right now. What I will warn you about though, is that we are gonna see a lot more Ryus online and he's gonna be a lot more annoying to fight. He will be a lot more annoying to fight. Right. Is it too much? We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, his combos, the combo routes that he has are crazy now. And it's like, he didn't gain any extra damage, but it's just things combo better before. And now he has this, the hop kick into the Tatsu, and you see they even increased the upper count limit, which basically means it can juggle later in combos and stuff like that. So he just does so much damage, dude. Yeah, the Kangaroos are gonna be scary, dude. They're gonna be so scary. You're gonna see more heavy blade kicks than you've ever seen in your life, dude. Oh man. He was just heavy donkey kicking 78% of his matches and laughing the whole way. Mage Nicholas and Sajam said that. Yeah. Dude, seriously. And like I said, if you're not good at, like, a lot of lower level players don't realize that you can just drive impact that thing, right? And so they just end up taking it all day. And so it can be really annoying. But drive impact will be its big weakness. It is hard to get this move to whiff and whiff punish it because it goes far. It goes far. But yes, Peter 0611 is absolutely correct. I just don't see most top players going to Ryu like they do Akuma, Bison, Cammy, Ken, etc. Yes, because Ken and Akuma, despite some nerfs, are probably still going to be better than Ryu, right? And at this point in time, I can't even make the Ken worst Shoto joke anymore because I actually legit think he's the best Shoto. I actually think Ken is better than Akuma because his success rate is too high. And he just has so many crazy utilities. So, like, even though people thought he got worse, even though he never got nerfed, no, I actually still think he's better than Akuma. And, dude, right? I mean, Tokido didn't switch. Angry Bird didn't switch. Like, clearly. Clearly. Well, Paladin has just been using Ryu forever, right? Ending Walker dropped Ryu like a bad habit when Ed came out, so he might go back. We'll see. We'll see. Honda is another character. I mean, people put him on the struggle bus along with the struggle 5 over here. I don't think he was ever as bad as people say, but was he below the desired power level? Yeah, so basically there's, just above the desired power level, then there was that power level, slightly below that power level, and then everybody else who are lower than that. Honda has always been a part of that section over there. They really tried to buff up some things, and they really gave him some scary mix-ups now. So the overdrive Teppo triple slaps over here change the recovery on block on the second attack from +2 to +3 frames. And then on the Oicho throw, they changed the startup from 7 to 6 frames. And if you do the math on this, this is now really scary. Overdrive, triple slaps 1, 2 into Ocho throw is a true mix-up now, right? So this is really scary here. This is actually a legit mix-up now. And not only that, but going from 7 to 6 frames means if you drive reversal him and he blocks it, he can actually punish you with the Ocho throw now. Because before, he was one of the only grapplers who couldn't, right? Because it's -6, and this was 7 frames. You tried to Ocho throw, they jump away, and it's just like, man, like, everybody else gets punished counter. So, like, honestly, like, he kind of is in that same area of, like, Marisa and Manon. I don't know yet. Because, again, we haven't seen a lot of really strong Hondas, but they're coming. Riekeman's Barnett picked up Honda before this patch and was doing some real good damage with him. Hikaru, God, the Lily player? No, the Aki player? Why am I getting them confused? Shoot, there was, one of them was who was the Lily and the Aki player? My brain is melted. Oh my God. Hikaru plays Aki. Okay, yes. It was Hikaru who plays, Hibiki. Yeah, okay. So the reason why I'm confused is because I was like, is it Hibiki? Because Hibiki is Dan's last name. So is that what I'm getting confused about here? Yeah, okay. Hibiki is the one that plays Lily. Hikaru plays Aki. Hikaru has also picked up Honda recently, and people are like, oh my God, they're doing so well by playing footsies. And Ultra David's like, I've been telling you to play footsies forever. Like, and I said, the biggest weakness that Honda has is that most people who pick Honda and Blanka are trolley players who just want to spam special moves. And when that stops working, they have nothing else. And so there's not a lot of those, like, I'm a really good, solid fundamentals player. I'm playing Blanka or Honda. Like, that almost never happens. So, the fact that Riekeman's Barnett and Hikaru are playing Honda now is a really, really big deal. And so, as a result, he's a lot, we're starting to find out a little bit more how strong he is. And then he got these buffs. So, again, it's hard for me to say where Honda's gonna be at this point. Is he in the desired power level group now? I don't know. He might be just under. He might still be in the bottom, in that the everybody else in that under group, which was only like 7 characters or 8 characters. I'm not sure, because we don't really actually know where Honda was, right? And keep in mind, David, like one of the only fundamental Honda players, got to like 96th place at EVO this last year, and he DQ'd himself so he could commentate, right? Like, you get a fundamental player using Honda well, and you get results, right? Like, you get results. And so I'm really curious to see how Honda's gonna go from here. I hope more people pick him up. And I hope more players like a Riekeman's Barnett or Hikaru start to use this character and really start to see what happens. Remember when Daigo played Honda? There was that one point in time where Daigo was like, let's try Honda. And he got like some stupid like 50-some game win streak on ranked or something like that. And he was just murdering everybody because he actually had like fundamentals. Like, there was just one time he was just doing it on a stream for fun and he was killing everybody. So yeah, so like, we don't know where Honda is because we didn't know where Honda was beforehand. Honda is one of the characters that we really just have no knowledge about, because me and David both agree. We think he's better than people say. Neither of us still believe that he was outside of the, like, he wasn't under the power level, desired power level. He was still in the bottom group. But some people put him at bottom 1. I've seen a lot of tier lists that put Honda as bottom 1, bottom 2. And I think that's absolute insanity. Especially when Marisa, Kimberly, and Jamie exist, and Manon, right? Like, those four are clearly bottom 4. Like, I don't think there's any argument that those 4 are bottom 4 pre-patch, right? So we don't know where Honda is. I have no idea where Honda's gonna be. Blanka being the other kind of trolly character out there. Again, Blanka is in the desired power level. I really think he's in that same range where JP, Juri, and Dee Jay are. So again, you look at this and barely any changes here. They made the double knee bombs actually hop over lows, but dude, it takes a while. Like, you have to wait till like the 7th frame, I think, before it actually goes over lows now. And because it doesn't travel anywhere, you can't fish with it. You can't fish with it, because if you fish with it to beat a crouching medium kick at the distance that you want to beat a crouching medium kick, if they don't crouching medium kick, you just whiff in front of their face and you're dead. Like, you're dead. So, you know, the fact that it actually goes over lows, I actually don't know if that's even a thing. Like, is anybody even gonna notice? I have no idea, right? Like, this is probably a buff that barely is gonna do anything, honestly. It does juggle now, so it has some weird juggle properties, but, right, yeah. So I've only seen the Blanka update with a drive rush knees in the middle of a combo. So as I was saying, it does juggle now, which is kind of nice, but again, like, is that enough to move the needle on Blanka anywhere? Also, the wild nail, the forward heavy punch move, like, they wanted to give him better Oki on this, but again, like, I never saw people use it. Like, you could use it to end a combo. So they improved some of his combo, Oki on a combo, and like, oh, now you get to extend combos with drive rush knee, but like, nothing changed. So again, I think because he's a character at that power level, he didn't change. Just like Guile. Like, what is this? Like, Guile, nothing. What? like, so the funny thing about Guile is that when season 2 started, I originally had him in my top 5 because on paper he was already good in season 1 and he didn't get nerfed, and everybody was like, oh my god, Guile's gonna be so much the best. On paper, everyone said Rashid and Guile were going to be the best after the season 2 patch, right? They were right about Rashid, but Guile never manifested himself that way. But I feel like Guile ended up in that power level. Like, if you're Knuckle-Doo, you're winning tournaments with Guile, right? But if you're not Knuckle-Doo, like, good luck, right? Kind of thing. Oh, also, obviously, of course, oh, here we go again, Higuchi. All the Japanese players' names that start with H-I are just blowing up my brain right now. Higuchi, Hikaru, and Hibiki. Dude, okay. Anyways, like, you know, clearly he could win. But if you look at the top 32s, there was almost never Guiles, unless it was Knuckle-Doo or Higuchi or Kaba, right? It was those 3. Like, it was just those 3 at any big major tournament. Unless Akainu went, then he would do really well too. But other than that, it was like just those 3, and that was it. And Guile never manifested himself. So he was always kind of in that desired power level because, like JP, like Juri, like Dee Jay, or JP after he got rebuffed. You know, because again, JP, you would see someone like Juicy Joe do really well at tournaments. You'd see Nephew and you know, Mago do well with Juri. And Dee Jay, you would see, like, you know, Zen do really well with Dee Jay and stuff. So these characters were all character specialists that could clearly win. Same with Guile. They're all in desired power level, so they didn't change them much. So honestly, like, this patch is actually really good. Outside of one glaring mistake, right? Or mistake, as some people would call it. We'll get to that in a little bit. Your hint is Shido. Anyways, so yeah, Guile, no change at all. Ken, like I said, it's weird. Like, dude, so the propaganda has worked. The propaganda is good. Like, it worked. it did exactly what it needed to do. Because I think Ken is like 4th best in the game right now. And he didn't get hurt that badly. Did he get hurt? Yeah. So the main thing is that the Dragon Lash Flame, the level 1, he gets way less Oki now. So before, when he hit you with Dragon Lash, he not only got the side switch, but he also got the Drive Rush Heavy Punch and get a true meaty on you. So now he doesn't get that. He can't even throw a fireball and it hit you with a meaty on it. So that got nerfed a lot as well. That got nerfed, I should say. The forward step kick got some scaling. So yeah, you can actually see, like, even when he throws you backwards now, he's now further away, so he can't get any Oki off that. So they wanted to get rid of 2 of his Oki stuff on side switches, so his back throw and his level 1 Jinrai. His level 1 super. They didn't do anything to the Dragon Lash side switch. That still works great, you know. But, you know, that's how it goes. So, do you think that if they removed Ken's target combo run Tatsu, it'd be too much of a nerf? I do, Cornman. I do think it would be too much of a nerf. You could probably reduce its distance, like make it so each kick actually doesn't kick him as far away and make it travel slower so that you don't go as far. And I think that would be a fair fix. I think that's a fair fix. You know, just reduce the distance on it. But the reason why Ken is still stronger than Akuma and still stronger than Ryu, and really is the strongest Shoto, and why he is still top 4 in my opinion, is because of his corner carry. Because corner in this game is the most deadly thing in Street Fighter 6. It sucks to be in the corner. Like, it's never sucked this bad to be in the corner, except it's like as Street Fighter 6 in any Street Fighter game. This is the worst it's ever been to be in the corner in any Street Fighter game ever. And the fact that Ken could get you there easier than everybody else, and his corner mix-up is really explosive, better than Kimberly's, at least before the patch. Like, that was brutal. It's so good. It's so good. So, it's really strong. So that's why Ken's really good. But all the propaganda out there, is it as bad as Ed or Cammy? No, clearly not. Like, he can still do everything that he wanted. It's just now he doesn't get as much Oki off of 2 things. Like, obviously the level 1 super is a big deal, but, you know, like, level 1 as a wake up and succeeding to get out of the corner was kind of, you know, like one of those Hail Mary things, because you're using your meter to get out of the corner, etc., etc. Obviously, it's nice if you get a combo, because then you can just get out of there. But, you know, it's, again, Ken, like, he kind of got away. He kind of got away. And with how much that Cammy and Ed got nerfed, could Ken possibly be number 2 now in the game? Maybe. Maybe. Because Ken, like I said, I thought Ken was above the desired power level. I don't think that this drops him to the desired power level, right? I don't even know if Cammy's changes dropped her to the desired power level. But I'm okay with that, because I don't want to see them nerf characters unneedingly, right? And a lot of people out there are doom and gloom about Cammy. I think she'll be fine, because she's always taken a very strong player to use. And maybe this will just make it so that, you know, fraudulent Cammys out there won't get as far in the tournament anymore. But, you know, like, I think she's still going to be good. But her nerfs are still bigger than Ken's nerfs, to the point where she probably dropped below Ken at this point. So, I mean, I think Ken is kind of one of the big winners of this patch. Because just like if Lily got buffed slightly, being one of the worst characters in the game, you know, being a little winner still makes you the biggest loser, right? But Ken, you know, being a slight loser, but being as one of the best characters in the game, being a slight loser makes him one of the biggest winners of the patch, honestly. I really don't think he's nerfed that badly. I mean, yeah, okay, step kick got damage nerfed. That didn't happen very often, you know, whatever. heavy Jinrai kick gets more drive gauge, you know, and then outside of that, like barely anything else changed. So, you know, I really think that this character is still going to be really strong. Chun-Li is another character that I do think was kind of at the desired power level. So you can see not much changes here, although I really need to see how this is going to play out. Because the fact that her slide, off of her stance, her slide is significantly faster. 7 frame startup now. That's 4 frames faster. That is a big deal. Like 4 frames is 4/60th of a second. It's like, what is that? That is a 1/15th of a second. You're like, that's not a big deal. No, it's a big deal. Like she's gonna be able to get under fireballs a lot easier, etc., and catch people by surprise a lot more often. So I don't know how much, and it's gonna be able to combo off of things a little bit easier too. Like I wonder if standing heavy punch Serenity Stream into slide is gonna combo now. Interesting. I mean, the thing about it is, Lurker Spine, I mean, yeah, you can hate fighting Chun, but as all people will point out, the Chun usage fell off because she was a character that just didn't have the tools to make it so that you would play her over a lot of other characters. So, you know, some people would even put her in that below the desired power level range. And actually, if you look at all the characters in the desired power level range that I've mentioned so far, like Chun-Li, like Blanka, like Dee Jay, like they all lost players. Like when season 2 came out, all of them disappeared. All the Dee Jay players went to Ed. Like all the Blanka players just, like Mena RD made Blanka scary and everyone started picking Blanka and then nobody played Blanka anymore, right? And like Juri barely, you saw, like it was interesting, like the characters at that desired power level really didn't get played that often. So, you know, Chun-Li is super hard to fight, super annoying, and Nathan is rubbing his head on my hand, so I am having trouble moving my mouse. But yeah, clearly, what are you doing, Nathan? Oh my God. He has the most destructive tail in the world, I swear. When he wants my attention, he swings his tail like crazy. And so when he wants my attention, he just knocks everything over all day. Dude, yeah, so JP, my comment on Marisa is I don't know where she's gone. Because it's a lot of really small, nice things, and oftentimes that results in a big buff, but I don't know Marisa well enough to be able to say. But Chun-Li, I really think, you know, she didn't need huge changes, because again, every character that I have put in the previous, you know, before the patch, in the desired power level has gotten very few changes, which is actually, like, honestly, really, really validating. It's been really validating because I'm like, you know, the way that they are adjusting this is like almost exactly on par with where I moved, like where I put the characters in the tiers. Although, to be fair, I do think the tiering in this game isn't as opinionated as before. Most people, I think, agree with very, very similar kind of levels here. So, but yeah, I'll be curious to see, you know, I hope we get more Chun-Li's again with other characters going down. Zangief, obviously the biggest nerf to him was the system change on the jump cancel thing. And so they're like, oh, you know what, because of this, for this updated, we looked at minor adjustments to throws that aren't used frequently and increased the meter gain on his stomping attacks. Ooh, ooh. This literally means nothing, right? This literally means nothing. The only one that is really significant is this one right here. Because this as a side switch throw was very nice, right? Because it side switched and still gave you Oki, but it's just a super art gain and you very rarely saw it. And so, like, if it was the down forward throw that gained it, like, now we could start talking because you can loop down forward throw. That's his throw loop, is down forward throw. But they didn't buff that one. They buffed down, back, down, and forward because, like they said, they weren't used very often. And so, like, these are never gonna happen. Like, if you're a Zangief player and you're gonna throw and you're gonna choose Brainbuster or German Suplex to get more super meter, I mean, that case is gonna come up like 1 out of every, like, 7,000 matches. Like, oh, I need just a little bit more meter so I can super them. So let me use one of these throws instead of down forward throw, which gives me Oki, or down back throw, which is the side. Like, you're gonna want those instead, like 99% of the time. So it's really not gonna do much. Nobody ever stomped. Nobody ever stomped at all. And yes, okay, so it was, it gets an extra 50% meter gain. Ooh, like, no one's gonna use this where they didn't use it before. It's not gonna happen. Because the problem is, it's not even a real combo, right? Like, 1, 2, and then the last hit doesn't even combo. So it's not like you're going to get, like, oh, I'm gonna switch my combo to drive rush stomps, right? Because you're not getting the third stomp. You're not getting the third stomp in that situation. So it's just like, you know, like, this is the most nothing change I have ever seen in my life, dude. Cause no, JNV, because that's it. This is it. This is all Zangief got. So honestly, like, because he got, like, he got crapped on really, really badly by the jump cancel nerf, right? Because Zangief went from, like, bottom 2 defense to, like, clearly the worst defense in the game. Like, now Zangief is, without question, by far the worst defense in the game. Like, he just cannot do anything if you feel like mauling him in the corner. And if you feel like meaty throwing him, he can't even jump cancel SPD anymore to beat that. So he literally has no way to beat throws because he's not doing with his backdash. He's still minus. In fact, most of the time when he backdashes throws, you can still punish him. Like, there's nothing he can do. Like, if he knows in his heart, like, you are going to meaty throw me, and I read that so badly, I'm gonna punish you for it. There is 0 ways for him to punish that if he doesn't have a level 3. If he doesn't have a level 3, there is 0 ways to punish that. Maybe throw, I mean level 2 or level 3, right? But he can't backdash, he can't jump cancel SPD, he can't jump. Like, nothing's gonna work. That's it. Like, all he can do is tech. All he can do is tech. It's the only thing he can do. So, like, yeah, Zangief, like, now is, like, de facto worst defense in the game. And so, like, he's just gonna be in trouble at this point. So, is Zangief one of the biggest losers in this patch? No, because again, not a lot of changes here. I think he's in the desired power level. What's up, Lactose Inspector? Thank you for the sub. He is clearly, and again, if you want to support me, please, subs are very nice. I appreciate them very much. He is clearly weaker now. Did he drop out of desired power level into below powered level? Most people will say no. And in fact, a lot of people still have Zangief in, like, top 5, top 6, top 8, which I think is way overrated. I think Zangief is under top 10 at this point. And now, is he dropped below the desired power level? Maybe. We'll wait and see how it goes. It's just really, you have to be so worried for Zangief now if you get put into a knockdown state and in the corner. It's really, really scary. It's really scary for Zangief now. There's no downplaying on Zangief. Dude, seriously. This character, dude, I pointed it out this weekend when we were watching Problem X fight Quiggy, like, in the World Warrior recap, and I said this very out loud, too, because I want people to understand this. The reason why everybody dies to Zangief is because they're so scared of the spinning pile driver, right? Nobody accepts getting spinning pile drivered as, I guessed wrong. It's, this shit is cheap. Right? Like, you just get super mad about it. But the thing about it is, when you watch Problem X fight Quiggy, like, he did things all over the place, and he could have been SPD'd at, like, maybe, like, dozens of situations. Like, he just does light scissor kick to Zangief. And Zangief can SPD you, you know, like at certain, like he could just micro walk SPD. Like, oh, dude, he just walked up to him on his wake up. He got 720 one time by Quiggy's wake up. But then you know what? That was round 2, and then Problem X run round 3. Whatever. Like, you have to understand the trade-off on Zangief. And if you think Zangief can SPD you in every moment, so you just spend your whole time jumping or trying to get away and being scared of SPD, you're going to die. You have to, like, if you find an SPD happy mashing Zangief, then you avoid it and punish him for it by holding up. And now all of a sudden the Zangief is scared, and now you can just play a normal game. Because a Zangief player that is going to spinning pile driver 100% of the time in 100 of the situations where you can be SPD'd is not a good Zangief player. So if you play against Zangief the whole time, thinking you can get spinning pile drivered every time, thinking that you're going to get spinning pile drivered every time he can spinning pile driver, you don't understand human beings. That's the thing. You can clearly find out when a Zangief is an SPD masher. And then you maybe lose the first round in that situation. And then you just jump away or backdash or neutral jump. And you destroy him for that, right? And then, but as soon as you get into higher levels, like, trust me, Zangiefs are scared to SPD in a lot of situations. They are scared, dang. You know what I mean? So, like, you have to understand that you have to be willing to get SPD'd and be wrong and not have that hurt you mentally. It's just like everything else. It's just a guess. Does it do more damage? Yes. Does he get mix-ups after that? Yes. And it sucks. But again, the thing about it is it's kind of an even risk reward, because if you learn to neutral jump it or backdash it, oftentimes the amount of damage you can dish out to Zangief is about as much as damage as he'll get out of his spinning pile driver. And if you have him in the corner and you get Oki, that's worse for Zangief than it is for you having to deal with Zangief drive rushing at you in the middle of the screen after an SPD. So again, it's just one of those things that you have to understand. It's just part of his game. But if you spend the entire time being scared of SPD, which everybody does, you are gonna die. And that's why I couldn't beat Alex's in Street Fighter V, because I did the same thing. I spent my whole entire time being scared of command throws, and so I died, even though Alex sucks, right? Like, that's just what I did all the time. And so, like, you can't be scared of command throws. You just have to accept the fact that you're gonna get command throw, and sometimes you'll get command thrown 3 times in a row, and it sucks. But, like, again, like, if you spend your whole entire time, like, having your #1 goal of being, I need to avoid spinning pile driver because I hate being command throw because it does so much damage and it's so cheap, you're gonna die even faster, honestly. So yeah, and like, yeah, exactly. All command grabs take 8 years to recover. So right, his Oki sucked from the command throw, but that still didn't stop him from killing me. And honestly, like, Zangief's Oki is not even that much better, right? Because drive rush spinning pile driver after a spinning pile driver is not real. Just like Alex's command grab dash command grab isn't real. Alex's command grab into elbow slash was a true meaty, just like Zangief's drive rush into one of his crouching kicks. That's a real meaty, right? It's the exact same, it's literally the exact same Oki as Alex. So if you're saying that Alex's Oki sucks, you're actually saying that Zangief's Oki sucks too. Because at least Zangief even has to spend resource after a spinning pile driver to even have Oki, right? So if he's at 2 drive gauges, it's scary to do that. And so again, like, it's not any different. It's the exact same situation. The threat of Zangief is largely more built into your head than it is actual threat, you know? Zangief has pseudo Oki after spinning pile driver. Like I said, he can get meaty normals, so he can sweep you on your wake up, and that blows you up for trying to hold up back. But if he can convince you to stay still, he can drive rush a little farther and get an SPD. It's not a true meaty. It's very easy to escape. You can interrupt him with buttons and stuff, but you just get scared of pressing buttons because his drive rush into low attacks and stuff like that will beat you. And so if you can, you know, basically train them well enough, you can get away with back-to-back SPDs, essentially. Geef is a Yomi machine. Again, that's one of the things that you have to realize about Zangief is that a lot of his mix-ups are not particularly elegant. You know, John the Automaton, I had been working on writing a How to Fight Zangief guide out there. I really was. That was one of the pieces of content that I wanted to make in 2024. I started grabbing all these assets and started building it, starting to write the script of it so that I could use my teleprompter. And again, this year I've just failed. I have like 3 more things of content that I really wanted to produce, and then the rest of First Attack, and I did none of it. Well, I did one. I did the Akuma Raging Demon guide because I wanted just to put something out that to see if I could still do it. And that ate up so much of my time, and I was like, God, this is so hard making content. Why? And so but there's a lot of content I want to create, but hopefully next year I can do stuff better. Hopefully. Please, pray for me or help encourage me. You can sub or donate, and that will help, as well. So it's tough. It's tough work, honestly. It is. Like JP says, making content is always rough. It's hard. And when you have ADHD and executive dysfunction, it's even harder because you know how hard it is. And with how OCD I am on top of the ADHD, like if you watch that Akuma video that I put out, like the tutorial is detailed. It's 10 minutes long, and it took me like a month to do because there's so much editing that I put in there. Like it is detailed. And so like I know all of my content is like that, so it's really hard. It's really hard to do. And I didn't even have just a How to Fight Zangief. I also had a Here's How You Make Zangief Better, which I see nobody use. And seriously, people will hate me when I put this video out because it's going to make Zangief players better. I don't know if anybody actually does this because I don't think anybody has thought of it. Every Zangief player that I've taught it to, I even taught it to Brutus a long time ago, and he was like, that's really smart. That's the level of this Zangief strategy that I have. And I haven't put this video out. So a lot of people out there are gonna tell me, don't put it out, James. Don't put it out. But it's really, really good. But yeah, anyways, Dhalsim. Dhalsim got a lot better from the last patch. Again, if you look at that patch over here, this was the previous patch, not the season 2 patch, but the slight adjustment patch afterwards. Dhalsim, like everybody talked about certain characters as being the winners, etc., but they missed the fact that Dhalsim was one of the big winners. He got a lot better in this game. And the thing that's scary about Dhalsim, I talked about this in the World Warrior this last weekend as well, is that Dhalsim is a character that takes longer to get better. And as you watch Street Fighter 6 move on, the Dhalsims are getting better. And he's scary to buff because so much of Dhalsim is learning your muscle memory in all of the right situations. And if you don't have that yet, Dhalsim's really hard to win with because every situation is so different. Like he has so many things to think about and do. But as people play Dhalsim and get better with him and the muscle memory starts to kick in more, he's gonna keep getting stronger. I actually, oh crap. Okay, anyways, I'll fix that later. I'll deal with that later. Dhalsim is a character who's gonna keep getting better. If we kept playing Dhalsim, the previous patch, before this one here, for years and years and years, Dhalsim is considered in that area where he's, under the desired power range, the power level. If we kept playing this version of the game, Dhalsim would move up. He would eventually get to lower than the power, desired power level, and then I think he would actually move into the desired power level. The longer we play Dhalsim, the more annoying he's going to get. So obviously people do consider him a little bit weaker. So, they buffed a few small things here and there. Nothing great, rapid cancel timings are good, but it seems like to me that they kind of agree, that Capcom kind of agreed, because again, the way that they adjusted it in this patch feels like we have him at the desired power level, which is where I think he would end up anyway. So the fact that they really didn't do that much to him, I think is right. Like, I know Dhalsim players are probably like, we need more, but like, the hardest part about Dhalsim is that you can always get better with Dhalsim. Like, that's the weird part. Like, Dhalsim is a character that it's so hard to maximize how good he is. So much in the fact that in Street Fighter V, I still think he was a better character than Luke at the end. I actually have Dhalsim rated #1 at the end of Street Fighter V. The problem is, he's so hard to use that we only ended up with like 2 Dhalsims that mattered, right? Like, and one of them was Crimson. You remember Crimson? Mr. Crimson was killing everybody. And I really thought that he was the best character in the game, even over Luke. But Luke was so much easier to use, that's why we had 15 Lukes at Capcom Cup and like 2 Dhalsims. But Dhalsim is a character that the player who is good with Dhalsim will only ever continue to keep getting better, which is why, like, even though I currently have him in the below the, desired power level group, the bottom group, I think over time he'll get better. And so I think his potential is that high. So I agree with the fact that they didn't change him much right now. Yosh cries, you missed it, but when I talked about Jamie, some people are like, oh yeah, he didn't get anything. And some people are like, man, the drive gauge management is huge. So it's gonna be a wait and see thing, because we've never had a character who can build their drive gauge back manually. It's never happened, right? Jamie was the closest, because you would activate level 2 and then just start drinking and you could gain drive gauges back. But now he can just do this at any time. We've never had a character like that. We don't know how good that's going to be. So it'll be interesting to see how Jamie turns out. Okay, so the biggest quote mistake of the patch. Everybody's wondering, what the F, dude? Like, what the F? Like, people have been talking about Rashid as #1, but the thing about it is Japan often goes off of Japan, right? And even though a lot of people consider Gachikun one of the best players out there, there's not a lot of Rashids out in Japan. Weirdly enough, there just isn't. And so they did nothing. Like, how did he escape? How did he escape this patch? Like, a drive case increase. Oh, okay, the run slide now adds scaling, so when he run slide into super, he doesn't murder you as badly as he used to. The flip kick thing is now designed in a way so that it's easier to tell what side he's gonna end up. So it's just not a mix-up, like you could just do it as a meaty on them and they have no idea what side he's on. It's gonna be more obvious. How many times did you see Rashids use that flip at the right distance to create an ambiguous left-right mix-up? Like, never. The super, they nerfed level 1. They nerfed level 1. And they didn't touch YSAAR. They didn't touch YSAAR. They didn't nerf it at all. And everybody almost universally says it's like the best super in the game. Now, it's nice that he doesn't get a full, like, he gets way less Oki when he hits you with the full animation of the level 1. But they left YSAAR alone. This is the biggest change, however. This is significant. So Odie's spinning mixer gives him less Oki. And so the reason why this is nice here is that if you do OD spinning mixer, before it was a free level 2 activation. So you could activate it, and even though it was on top of them, you recovered fast enough so that you could run and push the opponent out of the tornado, and they'd have to deal with the tornado anyway, right? Like, they couldn't get away from this. Now, after OD spinning mixer, you do not get as much of an Oki. You do not get the Oki anymore. So that's kind of nice. That's kind of nice, right? Honestly, I think that's one of the proper changes here. How do you nerf YSAAR? Honestly, with as strong as it is, I think if you hit him, it goes away. Like, that might be too much of a nerf, and then we would have to buff Rashid in ways to make up for it. But the fact that when he has the YSAAR out, and it just comes at you, and he runs at you and stands in the tornado, and now you can't do jack shit, or like somebody will actually hit him, but then the tornado hits him, hits the other guy, and then Rashid gets up, even though he got hit by a knockdown, and still combos off of it. Like, it's kind of crazy, honestly. So, right, exactly. It's hard to hit him while the YSAAR is up. So if you do, you should get rewarded by getting rid of it. You know, honestly, that's my answer to it. Is just, if you hit him, it goes away, because it's so strong and it's so hard to hit him out of it anyway, that I think you should be rewarded for that. So, but yeah, like, how did Rashid get away? So everybody right now, I mean, again, like, you just go to, what is it? Big Bird. And, I mean, what did he say? Like, he tweeted out, like, where is it? Yeah, it's a beautiful morning waking up as a Rashid main. And you're just like, come on, man, come on. So I had to respond with that. So I gave I gave him the meme over here. So there you go. So yeah, Rashid players are definitely enjoying life right now. So, oh man, Rashid players are enjoying. So this is probably the biggest, like, WTF of the patch. Like, without question, the biggest WTF of the patch. Aki is a character who is at the desired power level. They didn't do anything to her. So, although this is actually pretty big. For the people who do not know about Aki, whenever you triggered Toxic Blossom with the heavy serpent lash, that thing cranked up the juggle count so high that, like, nothing worked afterwards. Like, the paths that you got were the paths that you got, and, like, that was it. Like, you could barely hit with anything else. They've made that a little more lenient now. They relaxed that a bit. So now you have the ability to do a lot more stuff, which is great for her, not for a lot of other people, but now she can definitely do a lot more damage after she gets that. So she's going to have some new routes for getting the actual heavy serpent lash toxic blossom route, which is really significant because it is still one of the most common routes to trigger the toxic blossom. So this is actually going to be a really, really big deal. So she got, you know, this is not like a small, minor, insignificant buff. But again, is it going to be like, oh no, like, oh God, Aki, like, that's not the case. So again, character at the desired power level didn't get buffed, didn't get nerfed. She's just basically the same. So it's nice. It's nice. I like what they did with her. So again, I've had her at the desired power level. So no change, I think is correct. I really do think it's correct. Ed. Ed obviously was, I considered top 1 or 2 in the game. I used to have Rashid and then Ed, and it's been slowly changing to Ed and then Rashid, right? Ed got some significant nerfs. Okay, that's all I'm just gonna say. I don't want to go too much detail, but the crouching light kick counter hit, that's kind of a big deal. Making standing medium kick much more punishable on whiff is a very big deal, because this is the problem move right here. No, I didn't see Boost's tweet. What did Boost say? Oh God, I'm scared to know what he said. But this is a significant one, because again, the longer and longer Ed was being played, the more that this button turned out to be a problem. This move is so good. And so having it nerfed like that, I think is the correct thing to do, honestly. Dude, one of the Japanese players did this too. One of the Japanese players tweeted this out. So Boost actually kind of either saw that or they just both had the same idea. But there was a Japanese player that tweeted almost the exact same thing. So, oh man. So Maze Nicholas says, I want to say right now that the backsway change, the kill rush back, is just the change is mean. Sajam showed getting hit by drive impact from so far away during Ed's backsway, and it almost looks useless now. To be honest with you, I thought that was one of the biggest mistakes in the game. I think kill rush back should not have been as safe as it was. I think it should have been nerfed a little bit. Even I think this might be too much. Even I think they might have overdone it. So, I do think that, hopefully it doesn't murder him too badly. What's gonna happen now is that, so the nice thing about it now is that Eds have to at least preemptively kill rush back to avoid stuff. Right? So if you Psycho Flicker before, you would see the DI and you could backdash and get away, which in my opinion was BS, okay? Because that's supposed to be the weakness of the Psycho Flickers. You have to commit to it. But the fact that he can backdash out of it was hella good. Right? So, I think it was the right thing to nerf. I just think maybe a little too much. But now, if you expect them, they're going to DI you, you would button into Psycho Flicker into backdash right away. You would just do it preemptively, and you should be able to get away most of the time by the time the person DIs, unless they're just mashing DI, right? You should be able to get away from it most of the time. So it'll take a little bit more of a read, and it's not just like, I can fake this and then backdash and woohoo! Because I literally did think that was a mistake. In my mind, I thought that was one of the strongest things about Ed, was the backwards kill rush. I really thought it was kind of broken, So I'm glad they nerfed it. It might be too much. We'll see how it goes, because again, like the Cammy thing and like this, a lot of times when people see stuff like this, when something super broken gets nerfed, it usually makes people feel really bad, right? Like when all the Blankas disappeared after OD Blanka Ball in the air got nerfed. No, that wasn't a nerf, it was a bug fix. Like, this should have never been that way in the first place. And that's kind of how I feel about this. The more doom and gloom you see from people is usually because it was more broken than they're willing to acknowledge. And so a lot of people talking about this, like, this is just like the end of Ed. Like, I'm like, it's not the end of Ed. Stop, right? This change alone. However, that combined with the crouching light kick change, combined with the standing medium kick change, it's kind of rough. It is rough out there in the world. It's going to be a little bit tougher, honestly. So, but yeah, I mean, he is clearly one of the biggest losers, and this is an interesting one here too. So the thing about it is the way that they actually decided to tweak the Psycho Cannon, which is fascinating to me, which is a really kind of clever way for them to change this. So, YSAAR, they made it while YSAAR and Lavushka, while Lavushka's out, JP's level 2, while they're out, they don't gain meter, right? They nerfed the drive meter gain for Ed, but they didn't remove it altogether. And they still haven't gotten rid of it, but what they decided to do here was take the drive gauge reduction, so you losing drive gauge on every hit of the super, and took all of that damage and put them into the last hit. So right, as Mage Nicholas says in the chat, if you drop them out of level 2, then you get none of the drive gauge damage. But what they said in the notes above, which is really fascinating, is while you're comboing them, because the combo takes forever Because you're going pow, 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 pow. Because none of those early hits are draining drive gauge, the person getting comboed is now also gaining drive gauge. Because when it was each hit of the fireball, each hit would drain a tiny chunk and pause the drive meter gain. And right when it's about to start, you'd bounce on another hit, you'd get nothing. You'd bounce on another hit, you gain nothing. You bounce on another hit, you gain nothing. Now, because those hits don't drain anything, once it starts going up, when you get hit by it, it doesn't stop your drive gauge gain. So they're saying one of the problems is it was a full screen carry, you gained all this drive gauge and they gained none. So it was really strong. So now, because the last hit is the only one that drains the drive gauge, you lose the same drive gauge as everybody else who hits you with the level 2, but it only happens at the very end, so you're gaining drive gauge during the start as well. So the longer the combo goes, the more drive gauge you actually recover as well. I think that's super clever. I think that's actually really kind of clever. This is one of those changes, like one of my favorite balance changes in my entire life was making it so that when Faust gets the afro on his head, when he throws the bag head in the sky, like it causes a guard break and like he gets more powerful when he gets the fro. Like that to me was one of the most creative changes because there was no advantage for Faust getting his own afro, right? Like it was only bad. And that's annoying because a lot of the items Faust had were kind of like bad for him as opposed to good for him. And so when they changed it that way, I was like, that's so smart. I love that change. One of my favorite all-time balance changes. This might be like kind of up there. Not because I think it's a crafty, but it's just really smart. It's just like somebody's like, why don't we do this? And everybody else in the room was like, you know? Like, that's one of those changes that if I came up with it and everybody else in the room was like, you know what? Like, I'd be so proud of myself for like the rest of my life, honestly. Honestly, yeah, the Dan Fireball is another one. Yes, exactly, Mage Nicholas. The Dan Fireball was such a good nerf. To kill his infinite, they buffed Dan. And I love that. He had a random chance of throwing out an even more powerful fireball that knocked down, that juggled better, had better frame advantage, but because it knocked down, it killed his infinite. So, like, that's so Dan, right? Like, you nerfed his infinite by making it so he has the random chance of doing an even more powerful, better move, but it kills his infinite. Like, that's chef kiss. That's like mine. Yeah, that one right up there is right alongside the Faust Baghead, honestly. Like, those two might be some of the best. Yeah, and he's even like, whoa, like, how did I do that, you know? Curious on that, since your opponent gains drive gauge, can they interrupt your combo towards the end of the combo before you can start another string? Or wait, what are you talking about over there? So let me see, Harv, can you explain that a little bit? Can they interrupt your combo towards the end of the combo before you can start another string or finish with a special, whereas they could not with a low drive gauge? The person getting hit can't interrupt the combo at all. They're just going to lose the drive gauge all on the very last hit of the fireball. If you drop the combo, you don't lose any drive gauge on that. So the person gaining the drive gauge back can't do anything because they're stuck in a combo. So you can't combo, but it's still a combo. Do you understand? No, I'm just kidding. Right. I see what you're saying. On block. You're saying on block. Can you avoid it? Can you avoid it? So that's a good question. No, they didn't change it on block. The drive gauge reduction is only on hit. Only on hit. So on block, it's still gonna go chip, 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 chip. It's only on hit does it actually change. So there you go. So was there even a way to mess up the desync with an air reset? There might be to do that, but I don't think it's gonna be worth it because now you're not gonna drain any of their drive gauge. I think now you're gonna want to do the whole thing so you can get that drive gauge drained. Otherwise, you get 0 drive gauge damage for that level 2, and that's kind of hurts, honestly. It wouldn't be as useful. But again, like Cammy, like do the Eds and the Cammies need to be doom and gloom about this? Probably not. These characters are still gonna be good. They're still gonna be fine, in my opinion. Ed probably got hurt a little bit more than Cammy did. So the biggest loser in this patch is Ed. It's clearly Ed, right? Second biggest loser in this patch is Cammy, like for sure. Are they both like just like, oh my God, they're useless? No, I think they're both in the desired power level now, honestly. And like I said, I think based off of these patch notes, the only characters that I can comfortably put above the power level right now to where a lot of the top 5 was previous to this patch are Rashid and Ken. They're the only ones that I would still kind of keep at that above the power level, to be honest with you. So I don't even know if I would call that S tier characters. Like, I mean, just for the sake of argument, I might call them S. Like, realistically, I would rather call them A+ characters. But we went from 5 of those to now just only 2 of them, in my opinion. So I think this is really, really good. I think that's really, really good. And yeah, and the thing about it is, Ed just turned out way stronger than everybody thought. So I think it's warranted a little bit. Maybe not to this degree, but like the Ed experts are still gonna be good at Ed, right? Because the nice thing about it is, like, outside of the crouch light counter hit right here, he can still do a lot of the same things that he could do before, except obviously the kill rush back. But like I said, in my opinion, that's one of those, this is a bug, and this is actually a bug fix, not a nerf. It should have never been that good in the first place. Should have never been that good in the first place. But just like all of us when Ed dropped and we were like, this character is like mid, like he's not even that good. I don't think Capcom knew how good he was. So beforehand, the kill rush back might have been warranted, but as Ed got stronger, I feel like that went away. Then it became broken. And so I think it's fine. I think it's fine. So Akuma, they changed his walk speed, his back walk speed a little bit so he can't get away from everybody as easily. I mean, that's fair. Akuma's always had one of the fastest walk speed. I hated the fact that in Street Fighter 4, like, if you looked at the walk speed, it was like Vega and then Akuma. You're like, what? Like, why is he faster than Cammy? I don't understand this, right? Like, I don't understand. He's always been fast, but maybe in this game it's a little too much to be too fast. So, but honestly, like, I don't feel like a ton of things really changed about the character. Like, obviously they tried to make forward medium kick, the Karen stand medium kick a little bit weaker. They tried to make it so you can hit the fireball a little bit easier, so you can jump over it and kick him from further away. They nerfed the damage of OD uppercut. They made it so that you can't demon raid over people's heads to escape. Now you can chase down because he actually has extra 5 frames of recovery if he jumps over an opponent. So honestly, I don't feel like they changed much. And again, like I said, I had him the lowest out of the A+ crew, right? So again, my order currently before the patch was Ed, Rashid, Cammy, Ken, Akuma. So I had Akuma just right there. And the reason why I had Akuma there is because he still dies just so fast. Like, he dies stupidly fast. 1,000 health doesn't sound like much, but it's like 1/10 of your health, like, feels like, oh, he can handle that. No, he dies really fast. So it was hard for me to put him like clearly in that upper level because the instability, right? And they even said here, I love this, by the way, that they were literally like, he's supposed to be a glass cannon. However, Akuma's great mobility and attacks was very difficult for opponents to chase out, which resulted in Akuma being a more stable character than intended. So they're like, we're trying to make this mofo unstable, okay? Our whole point is to make this character unstable. I love that. And so, did they do enough to do that? Yeah, probably. Is he still above the desired power level? Maybe. He might be just inside it now or something, but, I think a lot of these small little things can add up enough. So like I said, for me right now, the only clear characters, in my opinion, of course, day one patch notes opinions have no merit whatsoever. But I think only Rashid and Ken are in that above desired power level region. They're the only characters that I would put in the S or A plus tier, however you want to name it, right? So I think I'm not mad at Akuma's changes. Like, I'm sure a lot of people would have wanted to see more nerfs, but I think that would overdo it, honestly. I think that would overdo it because, like I said, he is really unstable. He dies really fast. He really, really does. Oh, yeah, no, the Corn Man, actually, so he says in the chat, with each patch, I feel like most members of the cast are inching closer together, save for Ken for some reason, and Rashid, right? But honestly, like, the series, so starting from the definitive patch at the end of Street Fighter V, when I saw that patch, I was like, whoa, like, these are really smart changes. Like, they knew exactly where everybody stood and they buffed everybody in like really interesting ways. But even then, it was kind of too late to make some characters like Lucia strong enough to actually compete, right? But it was a really smart patch. And since it's the same crew, honestly, the Street Fighter 6 patches have been some of the smartest and best patchwork I've ever seen. Honestly, like the fact that DLC characters are coming out and not being broken. I know everyone's gonna be like, Bison, oh my God, Akuma, oh my God. So again, I personally have never thought either of those characters were broken, but the fact that all these characters have came out, and remember, Ed came out, released a little bit weaker than he is now, and then they rebuffed him, they buffed him a little bit, So again, like, the DLC characters are coming out really nicely balanced. All the changes they make are really like intelligent and really like smart, and they come up with clever ways to fix things. There are some balance philosophies I don't like, but that's just me. This is a James thing and nobody else. So this is just a James thing. But so in general, I think this is some of the best patching I've ever seen in a fighting game. Street Fighter 6 came out really balanced. I know people will tell you otherwise. They're just de facto wrong. Street Fighter 6 is one of the most balanced fighting games on release ever. And since then, like, I feel like even though it's shifted around and maybe some characters got a little too strong or too weak, like, it's still been really, really good. Really good, honestly. Right, so Bison's only broken because of his ease of use, but I don't even have him in the top 5. But I personally don't have him in the top 5. His results are not strong enough to warrant him being in the top 5. Every Bison player on the planet, except for Hot Dog, has like 2 secondary characters. And there's like 2 Bisons in Capcom Cup. And he never wins tournaments. He just doesn't. He just doesn't. So I don't have Bison at that level that a lot of other people do. He's super easy to use. Will Bison get you far in tournaments? Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why once you get to top 32 and top 16, there's like 50% Bisons. Like, Bison is everywhere. But at the highest level, Bison, in my opinion, isn't strong enough to be broken like a lot of other characters are. He's just so autopilot. Like, I hit him, what do I do? Plant a mine. I hit him, what do I do? Destroy 70% of their health. Or I didn't hit them, what do I do? Take advantage of free plus frames from Psycho Crusher. Like, he just pilots himself for you, honestly. Oh man. Oh, a lot of the Marisas went to Bison. Every Marisa player should have went Bison. Every Kimberly player should have went to Bison as well. Because Bison, by himself, rendered Marisa and Kimberly useless. Because he had better bomb mix-ups and infinite bombs. And he did more damage than Marisa. So like, the strengths of those two characters were completely overwritten by Bison. Honestly. Ed, Cammy, and Ken are the three highest. There's a lot of secondary Cammys. If you take away the secondaries of Cammys, I think and the secondaries of Ken, I think it's 5 Kens, 4 Cammys, and I think there's like 3 Eds or something like that. But honestly, if you compare to the last year of Street Fighter V, there were like 15 Eds. I mean, 15 Lukes, remember? So like, the fact that, you know, the most represented character as the main character is like 5 Kens is actually kind of good, right? I mean, in the last half a month, we went from 11 characters with 0 representation to 7 characters with 0 representation. We had a Terry qualify for Capcom Cup. We had a Terry qualify for Capcom Cup, right? We had 2 Akis qualify for Capcom Cup. So, you know, it's not bad, honestly. It's really not that bad of a situation. No, we had 11. Now we're down to 7. We're down to 7. So it's actually cool. It's really cool to see. But yeah, so I think Akuma balance is good. Bison, I mean, again, I think he might have been... So again, they didn't change the way that I would have wanted him to change, but he did get a couple of nerfs. And I think what they did was right. They focused on reducing his drive gauge drainage. So, you know, my philosophy is, you know, don't ever try to ODDP if you have a mine on you. Because it's just not worth losing 70% damage, right? It's just not, if he blocks it. Now, the thing about it is that, you know, if you have no health left and it doesn't matter, go ahead and go for the ODDP because you're dead either way, right? But the problem with it was a lot of people were telling me what's wrong with my philosophy, and they were correct, was that even if you wake up and block the Psycho Mine, what does he do? Like, you wake up, you don't try to ODDP, you block a heavy kick, and then you block a heavy kick, and then he Psycho Crushers, and then the mine blows up, and then he heavy kicks, and you've just lost 4 blocks of drive gauge. Like, there just was a no-win situation, kind of. You know, in that case, it's like you're just like, God, I'm just losing all this drive gauge. So, you know, it was a hard situation to deal with, and so they nerfed his drive gauge drainage. So the heavy kick, the back heavy kick, the knee, which used to do 5,000 damage, down to 3,000. OD Psycho Crusher went from 10,000 to 5,000. This is a big deal here, right? And then obviously when he hits you and the Psycho Mine is there, so obviously he goes into a different animation, they reduce the damage from 2,000 to 1,600, which is nice. Obviously, they added scaling on the OD double knee press so that it scales 20% now, because this thing launched him to the heavens and gave him everything. So this is actually really kind of nice as well. This one, I think, might have been a little bit too much. Like, I don't know if you saw the video of Daigo laughing, blowing up Devil's Reverse. Like, Bison would come down with Devil's Reverse, and he would do crouching medium punch, and it looked like Alpha 3. It would just hit Bison out of the sky, even though you're, like, punching on the ground over here. They really, really nerfed this badly. Did they nerf it too much? Maybe. Maybe, yeah, he did standing light punch. Maybe too much here, but again, you know, and in fact, on Twitter, someone's like, Bison's dead. Like, this character's useless now. Like, I might just quit Street Fighter because, like, this move sucks now. Like, what do they do? And, you know, I wanted to be encouraging, so I was just like, hey. And the nice thing is he posted up a round of one of his matches, and he was like, I can still win, like, this round here, but, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I watched it, and I was just like, you know, honestly, you're just doing Devil's Reverse too much. If you watch high-level play, they don't use Devil's Reverse all that much. Like, he was relying it on as a crutch, because he was like bottom master diamond kind of rank, you know, and it was a crutch for him. It was just, when I don't know what to do, I Devil's Reverse, right? And I told him, like, watch the high level players, they don't use it. I was like, take advantage of Bison's strong neutral. He has some of the best neutral in the game. You don't have to Devil's Reverse a lot. And again, when you watch the highest levels, you didn't see Devil's Reverse that much. And so, like, is it sucks that this thing is nerfed? I mean, not for everybody else who doesn't play Bison. Does it suck for Bison players? Yeah, it's annoying, but is it like, wow, this move is useless? Like, the fact that Bison still has the ability to control between stomp, control how far he goes with the Devil's Reverse, determines the timing of the Devil's Reverse. Like, I don't think, like, even when I was using a character that could DP it, right? Like for example, Kimberly's Crouching Heavy Punch just blew up Devil's Reverse for free, because Kimberly's Crouching Heavy Punch, at least at the very height of it, is pretty good, right? Is a pretty good, has good priority as an anti-air. But the Bisons could just dodge out of the way and then kick me and recovery and stuff. He still has enough control that I think it's going to be still an annoyance factor. But again, like, you know, one of the reasons why I said that, you know, he's autopilot the character is because at the lowest levels, yeah, if you didn't know how to get in with Bison, you just Devil's Reversed. Like, it was just like, I'm a screen away. What do I do? Devil's Reverse. I hit him. What do I do? Combo into mine. I hit him. What do I do? Drain all of his life with the mine. You know, like, or replant the mine. Like, you never had to make decisions with Bison. Like, he just made your decisions for you because his game plan was so straightforward. And now at least, you know, this removes that crutch. You know, like, low-level players aren't just going to be able to Devil's Reverse everywhere all day, you know, and basically just, you know, get away with that for free, you know. So I like these changes to Bison. And they're not, like, egregious. Like, honestly, he was doing more damage than he should have been. So again, like, the damage nerfs here are more like a bug fix than they are a balance patch. So I don't mind it, really. So again, I personally, and everybody's gonna yell at me about this again, I had Bison at the desired power level, but like just at the top of it. Like, he was just right out, like right inside there. I didn't have him in that A+S range. Like, I think he was just really good, but he was just too easy. And so he just got far in tournaments, like, for free, basically. But at the highest levels, I don't think Bison was as strong as Rashid or Ed or Ken or Akuma or Cammy. Like, I think those 5 characters are stronger than Bison, because Bison's defense still is ass, right? Like, again, every Bison player is either Bison is my secondary or I have another secondary, right? Like, every Bison player has a secondary. It's crazy. And so, like, I couldn't, with good faith, put him into that top 5. So I like this. I like these changes. I don't think it was overdone. Like, this is not like you look at Ed and Cammy and you're like, oh my God, these characters are dead. Narrators know, James does not actually think those characters are dead. But, like, it's like no Bison player, like, most people are not looking at Bison going like, this character's dead. Like all of this is just like, okay, he doesn't do as much drive damage. He doesn't do as much combo damage. Okay. And I think that's right. I really think that's right. So I like what they did to Bison. You know, I obviously we haven't seen enough of Terry in any match. So like obviously he's not great, but like, I don't know enough about Terry. I can't tell you, like, well, clearly, like, this is gonna change this and blah, 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 blah. Like, I can't, right? I mean, I've seen some really crazy things with the standing heavy punch being +1. Like, you can do drive rush, standing heavy punch, cancel into drive rush, standing heavy punch, into standing heavy punch, into drive rush heavy punch, into standing heavy punch, into DP, into super, and it just, like, drains all of their drive gauge. It's just gone. But, you know, I don't know how realistic or practical that's going to be. But you can't heavy power, you can't DI heavy power wave anymore? Is it just because they, you mean in the gaps, right? In the gaps, basically, like, if he does heavy into heavy power wave, if you DI, you can DI him back. You can still do other things to kill him, but, like faster buttons to interrupt him, but you just can't, it's not a free DI like it was before. So he got, obviously, a lot of changes, right? Like, he got a lot of changes over here. And so, you know, they try to improve his medium power wave, so it was harder to hit, like you can see right here. And it still has a lot of freaking recovery, dude. Like, the thing still has a lot of recovery. So again, I don't think that Terry, like, I can't sit there and look at this and just be like, oh my God, he's so good now. Because one of his biggest weaknesses, honestly, was the fact that at mid-range, he was really kind of weak. And, you know, did these fix them? I don't know. I really can't say, honestly. I would have to ask Automatic or somebody, you know, to let me know what they think about this Terry change. Because, again, I just don't know enough about him to really be able to say. But, I mean, this is a lot of changes, and he needed a lot of love. He really didn't. I mean, remember, when he famously came out, I was like, I don't know how good he's going to be now that I found out nothing is plus. So I was like, but he's clearly in the upper half, right? He's at least not in the bottom block of like those 8 characters down there. And then I was wrong. He actually was in that bottom block. One of the first times that I've actually misjudged the power level of a character on release. Honestly, I'm actually pretty good at that. And I completely misjudged his power level. I don't know if he's bull now. Like, I don't know if he's like bully level or anything like that, but we'll see. I mean, he needs more love. Like, clearly he's not good. So I can't wait to see the Terrys do a little more damage. Absolutely, John the Automaton. You can definitely share a link. And there are definite cases of like now Terry is just destroying people with damage. Like, this character's damage is silly. Is silly. Hang on a second. Let's start from the beginning here again. Oh yeah, he's dead. So again, this is, I mean, yeah, so he obviously does a lot of damage now, but I will also add to this why Marisa keeps dropping in power level. Because that was supposed to be the Marisa thing. But everybody does that now. Everybody does as much damage as Marisa. So it's just like, there was no reason to play her. Like, oh, I want to use Marisa because she can do damage. But, like, here's 5 other characters that do just as much damage, that have way more tools. Like, it wasn't even just the fact that Marisa got replaced by another character. She got replaced by a bunch of other characters to the point where, like, you had your pick of characters that made Marisa obsolete, dude. But there's only one Terry in Capcom Cup right now. There's only one. There's only one so far, so... But I think that's it right there. So honestly, like, I mean, obviously you can judge by my takes on a lot of these. I really like, one, I like the balance patch. I really like this balance patch. And 2, like, it's also very validating because I swear to God, they balanced the characters in the exact same place that I put every character in my tier list. Like, again, like, literally every character that I felt like was in the right power level got no changes. Like almost 100%, 1-to-1. Like, the characters that didn't get any changes were everybody that I put in that proper power level, so... so Sachet no Tanden, I said that Rashid is probably the only mistake of this balance patch. That's the only character that I would actually just be outright saying, like, what the hell? What the hell? Right? So, the fact that Rashid escaped is incredible. Incredible that they didn't nerf him. I mean, that's why I posted this meme, right? Like, this is what Big Bird said. It's like, it's a beautiful morning waking up as a Rashid main. And then I posted the meme, right? I mean, like, so I had to do, because that's basically how it goes. So yeah, Rashid is the only character that I would say was a mistake in terms of balance. But obviously, I've been streaming for 4 hours here, and I started late. It's 11 p.m. already. So I really don't have much else to say about the balance patch. Really, the only thing that, like I said earlier, is that's shocking to me is that Capcom literally called this balance patch. Where is it? Did I have it here? I think I closed it already. But they literally called this balance patch. They're like, this won't be a major balance patch like the Akuma patch. And I'm like, what? Like, before Capcom Cup, you did this? What? You know, like, but that just leads credence to me thinking that Season 3 is going to be a big shakeup. Like, okay, we know you all hate drive rushes, how they are now. We know you hate this. And so I'm wondering, like, is Season 3 going to just be, this, like, if they called this a not major update, and then Season 3 is coming right around the corner from Capcom Cup, like, what is that going to be? You know? Like, crazy. So I don't know. Like, that's the only thing I'm thinking. And again, like, I have told people, like, they hate the drive rush eating the inputs, and I said that's not actually a thing. The only way to fix it, you know, like by removing freeze or whatever like that, would require huge changes. Like, if you just removed the freeze and just made drive rush have 9 more frames of startup to match the drive rush timing now so that you would react to it in the same timing, like, literally, you have broken, like, almost everything in the game. Everything in the game. The freeze is so vital to make sure all their calculations of hit stun and block stun were exactly 1 frame, 2 frame, 3 frame perfect for things juggling and not juggling, and things being true block strings and not being true block strings. If you change that, you've destroyed everything. And I've said there's no other way to fix it. Like, there is no solution to what they're doing. So everybody who keeps complaining about fix the input being eaten, yes, fix it for jumps. Please, I don't know why they haven't fixed it for jumps, but like, there's no good way to fix it. Like I said, I've done a whole video on this. Everyone who said, please fix this now, like, I'm tired of people yelling about that because there's no way to fix it. Like, there's just no way to fix it. As a programmer, logically, there's no way to fix it. You literally have to delete input frames so that it matches up with the actual game timeline. And so inputs are going to be dropped somewhere, and there's nowhere to safely drop inputs where there isn't a situation that someone's input is actually going to get eaten. So there's like literally no way to solve this. And so it's like, and everybody's case where they're like, if I try to do crouching medium kick into fireball when they drive rush, it like, I'm like, do it in training mode, try it. And you know what? If you go to training mode and try it, you'll never miss it. Like, someone's like, oh, I tried to crouching medium kick into drive rush cancel, you know, or into drive rush, right? And when it happened, I only forward dash. It erased my crouching medium kick. Try it. Try it in training mode. It'll never happen. Never, ever happen. Like, nothing. The only explanation is that online somehow screws it up. But anything that you've complained about your inputs getting eaten besides jumping, try it in training mode, and I guarantee you'll never, ever, ever be able to do it. The only time you can do it is if you press a button and do a fireball plus button within the 9 frame window of the freeze, and then it prioritizes one over the other. But the amount of times that anyone is gonna do that completely within 9 frames at the exact time they drive rush is such a rare condition. Yes, does that mean inputs get eaten? Technically, no, but essentially yes. But the thing about it is the amount of time that's actually gonna happen is so rare. This is still the best case scenario. People have said, Kimberly users, they say when they drive rush, they erased my down medium punch so that I came out with a jumping medium punch instead. Try it in training mode. It doesn't eat inputs. It just doesn't eat inputs. It changes your timing on things, and that might mess you up, but it just never eats inputs. It's so rare when it happens. So again, we're living the best case scenario of it, but enough people hate it so badly that, you know, like Capcom said, okay, yeah, we'll look into a fix for it, like in the middle of season 1. And they haven't fixed it. Why? Because like I said, there's no solution. There is literally no, you literally have more inputs than actual game time. So how do you take those inputs and resolve them without adding extra time? You have to kill inputs at some point. And to do that, you're dropping inputs or creating input lag, because holding down back counts as an input because of charge characters. So even if you decide to play out somebody's inputs after the freeze exactly as they put them into the game until they reach a neutral state, then you can cut out neutral state inputs. That means if I'm holding down back and they drive rush, every button I press, as long as I'm holding down back, will come out 9 frames later. Because it's playing all those inputs that you did during the freeze, which is just holding down back afterwards, and then everything else you keep doing after the freeze keeps getting tacked on to the end of that. Everything you press is going to come out 9 frames later, which is de facto worse. So again, you can't manufacture time where it doesn't exist. Something has to give, and we are in the best case scenario in which during the freeze, it sees what you do and just chooses the best thing to happen out of that. And it causes the least amount of problems. Again, everything that you've ever complained about of drive rushes eating your inputs, go to training mode and record a clip. And if you can do that, send it to me right away. Okay, just send it to me. Because I cannot reproduce anything anybody has ever claimed about eating inputs in training mode. The only explanation is that online does something to kill the inputs. Obviously, except for jumps, because yes, the drive rush eats jumps, and that should be fixed. That should be fixed. But this is all stemming off the fact that, yeah, maybe we're looking at a situation where season 3 patch is gonna be, we're just changing drive rush like wholesale. And yes, we're just gonna have to rebalance all the characters' frame data, and we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Or drive rush canceling adds block stun or something like that. I don't know. It'll be really interesting. I mean, you could option select, but it's too fast that there's no human is ever going to process an option select during a drive rush freeze intentionally. It'll never happen. It's a 9 frame window that can happen at any given time. You have no idea when it's gonna be happening. So that's the thing. So, like if you finish fireball motion during a drive rush freeze online, it considers it completed blah, 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 punch message and buffer for the unfreeze. That's exactly what it does right now. That's the thing. Like, everyone's like, well, maybe if you complete the fireball input in the middle of the freeze, that's what it does. Literally, if I do the entire fireball plus punch during the freeze, or the freeze happens partially at the end, partially at the beginning, but in the middle, your fireball comes out 100% of the time. Go into training mode, do a fireball at every drive rush timing, your move is coming out 100% of the time. This is my point. Everything that everybody has said about drive rushes eating inputs is not happening. I'm sorry. It's the only one that it messes up is if I do a move and it's recovering and I plan to hit the next button after it recovers and they drive rush, and that now changes the timing so that you're hitting the button 9 frames too early. That's not technically eating your input, it's just that it just extended the total number of frames of your normal, essentially. So now you hit the button too early. That's like the main case of anyone who's ever had their inputs eaten, right? Is that you're recovering out of something, and when you try to do the next thing, you did it at the timing that there wasn't a freeze, which now ends up being too early. But in every other situation, any claims of inputs being lost or dropped or eaten or erased or anything is just not true unless you do 2 moves in the span of 9 frames. And like I said, to do a quarter circle forward in 9 frames is something that you have to do super intentionally. It's really, really hard to do that. It's really hard to do that, even if you try to do it on purpose. I have to buckle down and really try hard to get my button eaten by the fireball motion, because I have to hit button, quarter circle forward, button, all in the span of 9 frames. And it's really hard to do. It's really hard to do. Oh, man. Right, John the Amitov, it's opening up a huge can of worms, but by the fact that they're calling this a not major update, that's the only thing that tinfoil hats me conspiracy theory into. Maybe they are just opening up that can of worms. Maybe. You know? Oh, man. The crazy thing about that green 3-frame buffer bar is now they're changing it so that every move is different. So one of the changes to Kimberly's forward heavy kick is that they extended the buffer window by like 13 frames. And the reason for that, because this happened to me all the time, the block stun on that move is as long as a light button. If you do Kimberly's Hisen kick, the forward hop kick, the block stun is like 13 frames long. It's like 13 frames. That's how long block stuns are of light attacks. That tells you how bad Kimberly's Hisen kick is. It has the block stun of a light button, right? But if you hit people, it has the hit stun of a heavy button. And so every time you do Hisen kick as a punish counter, you can link into crouching jab. But I miss it every time because I always push the button too early. Because it's just the difference between the block stun and the hit stun is like 30 frames or something stupid like that. And so you just miss it. So literally what they did for the Hisen kick is that now if you hit it, whatever the default was, the 5 frames or whatever it was, they added another 13 frames. So that if you hit the button super early, they just buffer it for you. So yeah, it's kind of different. So yeah, I mean, they could add a new mechanic. They could change drive rush entirely. Who knows? Who knows? And honestly, it could come out and just be the exact same thing. I don't want to get anybody's hopes up that they're changing everything drastically. Like I said, I've accompanied this with, this is my tinfoil hat theory, so do not take anything I've said as gospel. Okay, don't be like, but James said season 3. Like, no. So yeah, in any case, I do like this patch a lot. And again, I've said it, I really think this is some of the best patchwork that we've seen in a fighting game, like ever. Like, consistently, not just this patch, but consistently throughout Street Fighter 6. Even the release patch, I think, was good outside of the fact that they nerfed Kimberly way too far. But obviously, they wanted me to shut up because this patch was like, here, James, here, shut up, stop whining on Twitter. Stop whining on Twitter. We're tired of it. So yeah, I have nothing to complain about Kimberly ever again at this point. So unless they nerf her again, which I mean, honestly, at some point in time, they might just be like, we didn't intend for Kimberly to be able to combo into super after arc step mid-screen. So we're gonna nerf that again. So I don't know if they meant to do that. No, none of us do, because they didn't mention it in the patch, and it's really weird, but there it is. So, but you know, I really do like this patch, not just because Kimberly got buffed, but because honestly, I feel like it was really well done. The only complaint I have besides Rashid, honestly, is I'm not sure if Jamie got enough. I'm not sure if Manon got enough. I'm not sure if Marisa got enough, and I really don't think Lily got enough. In my opinion, for characters that weren't like Ed and Cammy, who obviously got nerfed because they were too strong, if you're only looking at the lower half of characters, Lily is the biggest loser, honestly. I don't think she got enough. I don't think she got enough to help her. But again, I think the problem with that is that OD Windspire is too strong, and anytime you buff her in any sort of significant way, she just ends up being broken. Like, that move does everything, right? That move literally does everything. And so it's really hard to balance Lily. It's really, really hard to balance Lily. So, you know, we'll see what happens. But, you know, Jamie, Manon, and Marisa are, I mean, while I don't think they got enough, it's still a wait and see. I mean, Marisa has the highest chance of actually, yeah, okay, she's good now. She's good again. Manon maybe as well, because we'll see how the drive gauge gaining pans out. And then Jamie, like I said, I've heard some people like they didn't do enough for Jamie. And I've heard some people being like, that drink thing is a big deal. Hi. Like I said, there's actually a logical reason to that, Scorpion Pupil, is because they're new archetypes that they've never done before. Almost all of them have their own individual resource management. And so they're new to Capcom. Like Guile, they have 30 years of history. Like, oh, what made him strong in previous games? Well, we can look into stuff like that. Like, we have ideas. Like, literally, Jamie, Marisa, Manon, and Kimberly and Lily are completely brand new archetypes. Nobody, like, until Street Fighter V, no character has ever had their own resource management. No character has ever had their own individual meter until Juri and Ibuki in Street Fighter V. Those were the first characters ever to gain their own meter through Alpha, through, you know, CVS, through like it's never happened before. And so it's just new to them. It's just new to them. In any case, thank you guys for watching and hanging out with me for the entire 4 hours of streaming, even though it's super late and I started super late. Sorry about that again. Like I said, feeling kind of weird when the stream, when I got home from a doctor's appointment, I was like dizzy and sleepy. So I tried to take a power nap. That failed because it turned into a power sleep and I got up a little late, but thank you for sticking around so late. And, you know, I hope you guys enjoyed me going over this entire patch. Hope it was very informative for you guys on my opinion on a lot of this stuff and everything. Probably not as much detail as you guys wanted, but last time I tried to do that and I went through 3 characters in like 5 hours, so I wasn't gonna do that again. So again, hope you guys really enjoyed the stream. Hope you guys appreciated that, and hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. And make sure every one of you guys have a great holiday season. We're heading into 2025 pretty soon, so you know it's gonna be some fun times. Let's hope 2025 is a good one. If 2024 was a good one for you, great for you. Honestly, I'm happy for you. But for me, man, oh boy, 2025. Please. Oh my God. In any case, thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you guys for watching. Take care of yourselves. Have some good holiday fun. I'll be trying to stream. I say this every time, but I might stream a lot of non-fighting games during December because I just kind of give. Oh, actually, with Kimberly, I might go back to streaming Kimberly. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Any case, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. And you know, the day this podcast graced your ears was clearly the most important day of your life. But for me,
it was Tuesday.